A hackathon is a weekend-long invention competition. Students show up on a Friday or Saturday, dream up a crazy idea like a website, a mobile app, or a robot, and then bring it to life over the course of a weekend and share it with their peers.
From Germany and Spain here that I was talking to earlier, like people coming all over the world to come to these things.
We support tens of thousands of students at hundreds of universities to help them learn, build, and share brand new technology creations with the world.
It's like you always have these ideas and you know there's so much you can do, but until you come to a hackathon you don't realize you can actually do it.
For me, the most inspiring part is, like the fact that sponsors are sending like the engineers to come here and talk to us, and we can learn so much from them.
We always look out for the new talent, new entrepreneurs to build new businesses so that we can really help them in that.
Hackers who attend MLH events are not the type of hackers that you hear about on the news. They're not breaking into banks or stealing your credit card. These are people who love the process of creating technology.
The energy and the passion that they have, I think we all need to pitch in and give them a wonderful experience.
Like just the amount of people that I've met through hackathons, the amount of like super cool friends I've met that are also passionate about building stuff, about just like making things and being creative.
This is my first one, jumping in deep into the pool, so yeah, I'm excited.
You come in and like oftentimes you don't know what you're doing, right? And it's just the ability to learn on the spot, to meet people who can teach you, to figure out a way of solving a problem.
Don't feel pressured to have to create something. Just go for it, because the experience in itself is definitely worth it.
Hello friends, how are you all doing? My Chrome has seemingly frozen up, so hopefully you'll be able to see or hear me in a second. I don't quite know what's happened there. If we can fix it. Hello friends, this is Jack from my MacBook webcam. We have had something incredible. Can we all have F's in chat? Right as our timer hit 0, my microphone decided, my webcam, sorry, decided to be a great one to start. You might notice this is a slightly strange angle. This is the MacBook webcam. Up there is an actual webcam. And it has decided now would be the perfect time to break. There we go, that's what we want! There we go, it's all fixed. So, hello, I'm Jacqueline. Most people call me Jack. That's Blahaj. You're joined by Ryan in chat here to troll me because I've spent the entire week trolling him. I think that is possibly the smoothest start to a stream we've ever had in the history of MLH, and I am including our first ever first party hackathon there. I hope you're all having a great local hack day. I can't believe we're already on Thursday. Like, I don't know how many days are in a week, but I think there's only 3 left, you know. It's not very long left, so I hope you managed to get some awesome challenges done. I know you just had Chris, you had Mara a bit earlier, so I hope you learned something awesome. Depending on your time zones, it might already be Friday for you, but I'm in EST, and therefore I have decided that everyone is now in EST, at least for the next 2 hours. But what are we doing over the next 2 hours? Well, we're going to be doing Hack for Technical Interview. If you've never done a technical interview before, this is going to be a great chance for you to go and hone your skills and just have a go at some technical interview questions. We are going to be doing some on stream, and you're going to have an opportunity, a couple of you anyway, to come on and actually try and solve one on stream, as well as actually try out some interview questions. In chat though, you're going to be able to follow along. So one thing I want to give you a heads up is that for this stream we have enabled links in chat. So say you want to go and, you know, if you want to be sharing like your attempts at these problems in chat, that's going to be awesome. I'm going to be showing your attempts on stream. I'm going to be showing you some of mine, and I'm going to be showing some of your others. There's going to be a great opportunity to go on stream. Now, before we kick things off and go on like with this workshop and check in and all of that important stuff, a couple of disclaimers. If you are going to come on stream, it would be worth, you know, if you're a super beginner, these questions might be a little bit difficult. So you might want to try and do them off stream rather than on stream. If you've done a bit of programming before though, you know, you've done some a little bit, or at least you got an idea, you're more than welcome to come and join me on stream. And what I would say is that do not worry about being able to come on stream and get every answer absolutely perfect. 100% okay if you don't. I'm going to be honest, there's questions here where I had to actually look at the answer and learn it before doing this session. And that's not because I don't know how to program. I think we've all seen I know how to program as long as it doesn't involve installing Flask. But rather, it's sometimes difficult when you've got that pressure of having people on stream and that pressure of people watching you and the kind of time pressure to actually solve a problem. So don't worry if you don't get everything. It's exactly the same in an actual interview. Sometimes you jump into something and you're like, I don't know this anymore, but I did 5 minutes ago. And that is absolutely fine. But check-in link might be somewhat broken, so hang tight, we're gonna go and fix it. We're gonna go and check in first though, because the check-in link was broken. You wanna go and check in at hackp.ac/Blahaj interviews, which is not the link that is currently in Discord, so let me go and fix that right now. That's gonna stay at the bottom of my screen for the entirety of this stream. Let me go fix this real quick. It turns out when you're desperately typing and fixing things, it's very, very easy to mess things up. I'm gonna throw that in chat for you as well right now, because I love you so much. Let me do hackp.ac/Blahaj interviews. Oh, it's such an original one, isn't it? So I'm gonna jump right into what we're gonna be doing on this stream. Let me pull up the slides and I'll just kind of give you an idea of what to expect. I'd also say we do have an LHD interviews channel, which we might be using at some points throughout the stream on Discord, just to give you all a heads up. So let me just go and share my screen so you can see what I'm about to go and talk about. Greetings from the East Coast to you, other friends. This is Hack the Technical Interview. Before we go straight into this, so let's go check in, because that's super important. So what we do is we go to, of course, first of all, we make it so I can actually get to the thing, but I can't, so let's just do this. We're going to go to hackp.ac/Blahaj interviews. When you've done that, if you spell Blahaj wrong, it won't work, so hackp.ac/Blahaj interviews. head over to there. If you're already logged in, you just can go and click check in. If not, you need to go and press login, sign in now, and then log in with your MLH account. This is the same account you've been registering for literally everything else during a local hack day with. When you're here, you'll see this beautiful register or check-in button, so click that. It's going to turn green. Once it turns green, you're good to go. You've claimed that point. And what do points mean? Absolutely nothing, because we're a made-up concept that we're using to make sure you interact with us. But hey, points are great. We love them, and you can go and earn some for your guild, because that's what really matters. So, welcome to Hack for Technical Interview. You're basically going to have me for a bit chatting about some interview tips. We're going to go at some technical questions, and we're going to go through these slides. So it's going to be pretty fun. Mara's like, Jack stays true to Blahage. Blahage is important. Blahage is a lifestyle. Blahage isn't just a lifestyle though. Blahage, you ready for this? Is Blahage. Okay, so let's go and go straight for this. Yes, but points also do mean something in your heart. That is also important. The points are not meaningless because you get the warm fuzzy feeling in your tummy. Okay, so let's go through these. This is Hack for Technical Interview Algorithms Practice, and in this workshop, we're going to be covering a couple of things. We're going to be learning about best practices for technical interviews, so what you should be doing in technical interviews and all of that fun stuff. We're going to be learning how to solve several common technical interview problems. Obviously, this is a, hour and a half, 2 hour slot. We're not going to be covering every single possible interview question in this workshop. That would be ridiculous. But we're going to be covering some kind of example ones and showing you where to find some more. Because at the end, I'm going to talk about where you can go and get more practice. Pro tip, if you've not already got the GitHub Student Developer Pack, that includes a ton of awesome resources. So here's the table of contents of what we're going to go through. First up, we've got some technical interview tips. We've got a demonstration, which I might pull one of you in for. We're going to do a couple of practices. They've got a review and a quiz, and then some next steps. Now, I am going to say these slides are not going to be entirely what we're going to follow for this workshop. The reason for that is these are designed as if you were all in a room together, and I've changed them around. But because of the fact we're on stream, there's going to be times where I'm going to give you 20 minutes to try and code something. I might bring some of you on stream, we might have a look at some of your LinkedIns and just look at general interview prep as well as hiring prep as well. Just because, why not? It's always interesting to do that. But no pressure if you don't want to share, that is totally fine, we've all been there. I remember when I was my little baby hacker at my first ever hackathon at Hack for North a couple of years ago, and I was like, I am too terrified to give you everything. And that is fine, so do not worry. So before we get started, couple of tips. This is recorded. First up, it's okay to ask questions, whether that's on this workshop, but actually in a technical interview as well. You're not expected to be able to read people's minds and be like, hey, these are the parameters, this is exactly what they want. So, mention like, hey, is there anything that is built in that I'm allowed to use that I might not think of in the first place? A lot of people think, hey, the interview wants me to fail. Pro tip, they don't. If they can hire you, they can stop the hiring process there and save a ton of money. So if they are looking for a reason to hire you, and they're gonna give that to you. Before we keep going, someone said, hey, when are you starting to code? I started learning to code when I was like 12, and I'm now not 12. So a little while back. I will be honest, I'm not the best developer in the world, at all. But I try my best, and I know, to give you context, my actual degree is in digital media, so this kind of thing, rather than actual straight programming, but it did include programming as well. Okay, so let's keep going. Another thing you should do in a technical interview is, plan your answer before coding. So you can use comments, you can get a whiteboard, you can think out loud, scribble on a bit of paper. You'll find out what works best for you. And some companies will actually require you to use a whiteboard. And they'll literally say, hey, write out what you think on this whiteboard. That's totally a thing. And so don't feel like you have to keep it all in your head and then type it straight out in code. That is absolutely not the case. Fuzzy Wuzzy has asked a really interesting question of, what if I don't have the answer, planned? Well, actually, you're going to find out it's probably not the end of the world. I'm going to tell you a couple of stories about technical interviews I've actually done during this workshop as well. And I'll give you a kind of a little preview before we do that. There was a technical interview which had 1,000 test cases. I only managed to solve about 980. There was 20 edge cases I didn't manage to work out what they were. I still got offered the job. And I then turned it down because I wanted to move to Canada. But at the end of the day, there is opportunities, even if you're not the perfect developer ever, So don't worry, like there's tons of ones. That was for a major financial institution in fintech in the UK as well. So it's like, that was a proper place. So let's keep going. You know, always start, you know, coding, always talk through things when you're stuck. Interviewers can't help you if they don't know what you're thinking. So if you're thinking out loud, then they can give you hints if you're close. For example, if you can't remember a method of a name, or you're just kind of like stuck and you're missing something really obvious. Also, it's important to refactor. So my advice for many technical interviews would be get something working as fast as you can, if you can. Get it down, but then look at it and be like, hey, you know, this is okay, but how can I improve this code? An example of that is when I did the technical interview I just mentioned, and what I had to do is I had to go and it was a way of matching up transactions for like a global currency trading thing, basically. And I was like, okay, I'm looping through this. This works, but it could time out in X, Y, and Z situation. And I want to refactor it so it can't. And I'm like, well, I can loop through this backwards and this will save, you know, a certain amount of processing power. It'll go quicker because we can fail earlier. You know, I can use like a way of, like, I can put this conditional higher up in my code so it skips something, you know, so get things written down as fast as you can, but then you can totally improve it once you have done that. You know, FizzBuzz says, hey, but you know, I feel like I figure out an answer as I go for lots of questions, but interviewers might not like that. Interviewers totally expect that. Like, when I'm working in my actual day job, to give you the context, I'm a senior dev at a big bank in Canada. I'm not expected to kind of know the answer to everything. Like, even, like, let's ignore interviews for a minute. When I'm actually building something, like, no one expects me to know everything off by heart. No one expects me to not just look at a problem and go like, boom, I know the answer to that. I am fully expected to Google. Obviously in an interview, you might not have access to Google. Sometimes you will, it varies. But it's fine to think out loud. It's fine to be like, I need to do this, but I don't know how to do this. Another answer is, what if you don't have an answer as planned? Well, it doesn't matter. Get what you can. Explain kind of theoretically what you would do next. So you can be like, hey, I've got this first bit. I need to get to here. I know I need to do this theoretical concept to get there, but I don't know how. Because at the end of the day, like, while people think you have to get everything right in an interview, that's actually not the case. They're looking for people who can think logically. They're looking for certain like things like that, rather than, you know, you are the best programmer in the world who has memorized everything. And the reason I've talked about, you know, talking things through out loud, communication skills are super important as a developer. And so it shows that you can do that. And it might just give you that edge on another candidate who got the answer right, but didn't say anything and we couldn't get into their head. And that would just mean they're difficult to work with, right? So you can say like, I want to refactor this because. We'll keep going through the slides, but before we do, how important is LeetCode? This is a difficult to answer question. It depends where you want to work. It depends where you're going to do things. I will outright say I have never done a LeetCode. Okay, that's not true. I have done hacker rank style interviews, except for the fact that they were more project based, so it gave me like longer. I appreciate this is not the norm, but I'm saying this because there is companies out there which do not require, you know, this fast paced stuff. So it depends what you want. I personally am god awful at LeetCode, and I know that, and I'm unlikely to go and interview somewhere that requires it. You might be someone different, you might be quite good at it, and you might want to learn more. That's totally fine. It's play to your strengths would be my biggest advantage. LeetCode, for people who are unsure, is just kind of like competitive programming almost, where you're having to quickly solve problems very, very quickly. Okay, another thing is explain your answer thoroughly when you have finished. So you've written your question, so you've written your answer, it's beautiful code, it works, but some companies really care about like you saying how it works, why you chose to do that solution. This again, I've had actual experience of being able to say on a call with people, they were like, why do you do it this way instead of this way? And I'm like, because I think this way is more optimized. I think this way is actually more sensible in the real world. And it has a slight performance hit, but it avoids this edge case, which I think is worth it. And they're asking you effectively, they know there's not a singular correct answer. They're wanting to hear why you got to that answer to check it's logical and does make sense. Jack, did you get your current job without LeetCode style questions? Yes? Did I? Yes. Yes, I did. I will fully say I am not an average case for how I got hired. If we have time at the end, I might tell you that story, possibly, because it was, let's just say I was in an interesting situation and how I got hired. It was not a straight interview process. It involved internship and kind of that kind of stuff. But I will talk about that at the end because that's actually really important. And finally, watch for time. In an interview, you are going to have a certain amount of time. You know, you want to probably break some stuff down. This is MLH has suggested you give yourself 10% to plan, 50% to implement, 20% to refactor, 20% to discuss. Depending on your strengths, you might want to rework some of these. You might need longer to plan. You might need longer to refactor, and you'll be quite fast at getting some in the code. So it depends what you think. Someone's asking me what my current job is and what my experience is. Just to kind of give you a bit of insight, I'm currently a senior developer in Canada. I work at one of the large banks over here. I work in OpenShift, which is cloud infrastructure. So I don't work on the apps in the bank. I work on the stuff surrounding it, effectively. Before that, I was like a Amplify developer there, and that was back in London in the UK, which is effectively a 12-week-long internal hackathon. But you're going from literally nothing to having released a product potentially into prod within 12 weeks. So it's very hackathon style, except you're working with actual businesses, you're building actual things, and all of that kind of stuff. I'm obviously an MLH coach, so I spend a lot of time debugging people, like code in person. And before all of this, I worked and I ran the tech side of one of the largest student radio stations in the UK. So I was in charge of both the hardware side, so building stuff up, to also literally building studios, all the way over to the software side, such as building internal tooling and all of that kind of stuff. So that's kind of where I'm at. To kind of give you the insight, I'm 23. I'm not the oldest, most experienced person you're going to have talk to you ever. So take everything I'm saying with a pinch of salt. All I'm talking about is my experience. My experience is not necessarily going to be the same as yours. So just to recap what we just kind of talked about, it's okay to ask questions, make sure you're planning your answers and talk things through. It's important to refactor, but get the refactoring done once you have an answer that kind of works. Explain your answer thoroughly when you're finished. They want you to be able to explain your answer. And finally, watch for time. Literally, wear a watch. Okay, so we're gonna do a demonstration. What I'd like you all to do while I'm discussing this is I'd like you to open REPL.it. This is an online IDE. It's super, super useful. What this means is you're not gonna have to worry about going and setting things up on your own computer. So you don't have to worry about setting up Python, which is what I'm gonna be using during this workshop. You can actually use whatever language you want during this, because we're more focused on getting this kind of theoretical stuff down rather than the specifics. But what I really want you to do is just open REPL.it, make an account if you don't already have one, sign up. As a pro tip, the GitHub Student Developer Pack, if you authenticate through that, will upgrade you to the paid plan for absolutely free. The free plan is also fine during this, and this is just a place for us to be able to run code in the cloud and you be able to easily send your code to me. Interesting question is, do I need to be more proficient in one language for technical interviews? I'm only learning Python right now. So at my job at the moment, I use Python, I use JavaScript, I often build stuff in React, but also use Node.js in the background. I do Node.js a lot less than JavaScript, which is why I'm not great at it. I'm a lot better at front-end JavaScript. I do bits in Java as well, and Java is awful, but I kind of know it, just not very well. But I also focus on a lot of kind of the dev education side rather than the straight programming side. So just to kind of give you where I'm at. So yeah, REPL.it does have a dark mode as well. Friends, you've got tons of questions in chat. I promise I'm not ignoring them, but I do have to jump back and forth. We have to get through these slides as well. So if you have questions, I promise I'll answer them. Once you've got REPL.it set up, what you'll do is during it, you'll go and search the language you want to use. It will open a web editor. On your left is your programming environment. So that's where you're going to type in things. It's like your IDE. And on the right is effectively your terminal or your console. So that's where you can go and type in your code. It's where you can type in your commands, such as like Python main.py to run main.py, for example. It's very, very similar to a kind of, just normal IDE. I'm just going to throw in chat the link in case you missed it earlier. It's REPL.it. And this is what we're going to be using for this. And the cool thing about REPL.it as well is that by default, it'll have autocomplete turned off. You can turn it on during this, but a lot of technical interviews, actually, you don't have it. So it depends on what you want to do. You should do whatever you think's best for your skill level during this interview. So you'll be typing in your code editor on the left, and then when you want to run things, you'll just go and type in, you'll type it in like normal and then press play, and it will run, and on the side, it will go and run your code and it'll show the output. I'll show you how to turn dark mode on in a second, don't worry. To share your solution, you can click the share link button. Now this says just tell me the end of the URL. I actually want you to send me the entire URL in chat. We've unrestricted that for this workshop. So you can copy paste the entire URL. Don't do that, please, until I say to, because you should be kind of, you should try to do these by yourself before you try and do it with someone else, is what I would say. So we're going to do a practice problem. And before we do that, would anybody like to come on stream and have a chat with me and have a go at doing this live? You don't have to, but let me know in chat now if you would like to have a go at doing this practice one live. Adam, you'll come on stream. Adam, I will send you a link to join stream. Adam's gonna have a go at doing this live. Everybody else who would like to come on stream, don't worry, there is gonna be more opportunities. And so sit tight, like there is gonna be other chances. I'm just gonna go and DM Adam, which I don't know how to do without breaking things. Let me go and find Adam. You can see my wonderful screen share right now. I probably should have hidden it, but oh well. See if it'll let me DM Adam. Sometimes my DMs tend to be a little bit restrictive, so there might be some issues, but let's have a go. There you go. There you go, Adam. There's a link to come and join the stream. While Adam is joining us, I'm gonna go and explain the question to everybody in chat. Okay, so get your Repl open, make a blank REPL. FizzBuzz is a simple interview problem that many interviewers use, and is often used in initial phone screens and all of that kind of stuff. And the reason it's often used is it's actually pretty simple if you know programming. It's a pretty famous problem. And if you know a decent amount of programming, you'll look at this and go, this is super simple. If you don't, you'll trip up on yourself. And I remember seeing a stat where it's like, so many people, like you might feel strange when you apply for a job to be asked something so easy. But I've heard it screens out so many people that it's actually worth them doing it. Because obviously, the quicker they can screen you out, if you're not a suitable candidate, the more money they're saving. And as a business, that's kind of what they need to do. So just to kind of show you what you should be doing, you want to go and open Repl. To go and turn dark mode on, you'll see like a settings cog on the side. Click that and you can do that. Obviously, here is my environment. Adam, what I'm going to ask you to do is click this, turn dark mode on, and also set your font size to huge for me, just to make it a little bit easier for the stream to see. But while Adam's doing that, everybody who's in chat, here is your first problem. So I want you to write a function. It's going to take a single input and it prints out 1 through that number. So say your input is 20, it will print out numbers 1 to 20. If the number that you if the number that is being printed is divisible by 3, I want you to print fizz. If the number is divisible by 5, I want you to print buzz. And if it is divisible by 3 and 5, I want you to print FizzBuzz as one word, okay? So no spaces. I would recommend, if you want to try do this live, you now take a screenshot of the stream, because this is going to disappear while Adam has a go. So take a screenshot of the stream right now if you want to have a go at this problem. If you are watching and you want to actually learn something, I would really, really recommend it. So I'm going to give you a couple of seconds, and then we're going to go and jump into chat. But while I give you time to go and screenshot it, we've had some interesting questions. Katie Walker, what do I do if I don't know the answer to an interview question? I've been there. I've been in interviews where I've been like, I have absolutely no idea. But instead of being like, I have literally absolutely no idea, I was like, well, okay, you have these parameters. You want to get from here to here. I don't know how to get there quite yet. I know I need to kind of do, for example, like I need to go and change this data in this way. Now, I don't know how to manipulate it in that way, but, I can set it up by doing that and literally think out loud, tell the interviewer what you're trying to do. And then often, they'll prod you if you're totally wrong. They'll be like, maybe we should try something else. But by thinking out loud, you have a go. If you have literally no idea, it's also fine to be like, okay, so this is a difficult one that I've not seen before. I think a sensible approach could potentially be, and then literally say, like, this is what I'm going to try. There might be like a better way of doing it. So I'm just going to try this, see if I can get vaguely the output I want. And if it doesn't work, then I'll pivot. And literally just explain to the interviewer what you're doing. Like, they understand, they've probably been there as well. Okay, so Adam, I'm gonna bring you on stream now. Hello, Adam, how are you doing?
Hello.
Chat, let me know if there's an echo, by the way. It should be fixed today.
Let me find my microphone.
You're gonna find your microphone?
Hello.
Hello, everybody. So, Adam, are you ready to have a go at this live?
Well, have you seen my screen?
Here we go. It's gonna show you. You can't find the cog. Make sure your screen's big enough, is what I would say. You probably haven't gone and made it big enough. So you want to go and make a new REPL using out on the side.
Oh, do I have to make a new one before I get the cog?
Yep. So click new REPL. Choose the language you want to programming. Adam's going to do it in C#. I'm going to answer it in Python as well, so you're going to see 2 different approaches here. And remember, you're going to be sharing yours afterwards. Okay.
Now I see the cog.
And then you'll see the cog. So, Adam, have you ever done FizzBuzz before?
I've played it at school, yeah.
Okay. So, what do you think the first... Yeah, you can do mobile game REST, can I do it in Java? You can do this question in any language you want. So, what was the first thing you think you need to do?
Take the user input.
Okay, well, imagine I'm an interviewer. Talk me through what you're doing.
So, the first thing I think is we need to get the user's input, because we actually need the number. Then we need to figure out if it's divisible by... Is it 3?
Yep.
And then we have to figure out if it's... And then if it is divisible by 3, output the output. And then figure out if it's divisible by 5. I know the webcam's not very good again. If it's divisible by 5, put the output divisible by 5.
So yeah, a really interesting thing that Adam actually said there is he basically was like, I'm going to try and divide by 3. If it can be divided by 3, I'll stop there and just print fizz. And then do you think that will actually work, Adam? Like, can you just stop and print fizz?
2 ifs. So if it's divisible by 3, print fizz. And then if it's divisible by 5, or if it's not divisible by 3, still if it's divisible by 5, is it divisible by the second number?
Will you return fizz as soon as it's divisible by 3?
Was it FizzBuzz on one line you wanted?
Yes. If it's 3 and 5, you need to return FizzBuzz.
So there's 2 ways I could approach this.
Okay.
The first one is store whether it's divisible by 3, and then check if it's by 5. And then if it's just 3, output fizz. If it's just 5, output buzz. If it's both, output FizzBuzz. Or alternatively, I could just output fizz and not put a new line after it, and then output buzz and not put a new line after it.
Well, have a go. Start typing up whichever one you think it is. While you're doing that, I'm going to answer a question in chat, which is really interesting. Our interview problems straightforward like this, or the prompt's kind of random, like in Code Forces, already based on the company's real tech problems. So this one we're doing right now is a super simple one to get us started. We're not going to spend very long on it. We have 2 quite complex ones coming up. So this is just kind of to warm up, to get you used to the environment, and to give you like a fairly easy one to get started on. You will find different companies do different interviews differently. And so for companies, for example, that just contract stuff out to HackerRank or HireVue for their hiring process and use their tools, often they'll just use the built-in problems. And I have opinions on this, which I'm not going to share on this stream, but a lot of them will just go and use this problem bank. A lot of companies I've enjoyed actually interviewing for had problems based on the company's real technical problems. So one I talked about earlier, what they did is they explained how internally they matched currencies to transactions, and it explained how they match users to transactions, and they gave me a very simplified version, and it's basically like, you're doing a simpler version of this is what we do in our actual kind of environment, and we'd like you to try and match it in the same way we do. Obviously, this is a very complex thing, so we're not expecting you to get 100% pass rate or anything. We just want to see where your mind's at, see, what your analytical skills are to go and figure stuff out, and all of that kind of thing. So it really does depend. A lot of you have gone and solved a problem. Silver Arrow's like, I solved it and I'm a beginner. That is awesome. You should be really, really proud. Adam, don't run your code yet. Don't run your code yet. Okay, so you've got this, and can anybody... Okay, so this looks okay, but can anybody spot something major? Not with the actual way he calculates the code, but where he didn't quite do what I asked for in an interview. Because in an interview, it is important that you follow the interviewer's directions. He's not done FizzBuzz yet, that's fine. But actually, what else has he not done? Yeah, Taylor's completely right. I asked you to make a function for me. You've not made me a function.
Oh.
Right?
I didn't realise that.
Yeah, absolutely. And as a couple of people, including Vicar, said, you presume you will, but you've not quite done FizzBuzz as far as they're concerned yet. But we're going to see if you have. We're going to run a code in a second once you've changed it into a function.
Oh.
And yeah, and also, the data has gone and saying, hey, he hasn't printed all the numbers up to a given number either. He hasn't, has he?
Because I misread the brief.
So a really important thing to do is ensure that you are, fully reading the question. If you don't fully, I know at school you hear from teachers like, always read the entire question. And it gets super dull and you kind of are like, can you like stop now?
The entire question.
Yeah, this is why you should read the entire question, because you're not supposed to be doing what you think. You should literally be like looking at it and being like, it needs a function. Okay, first I'm gonna write
the wrong thing here.
Yep. Now Still says, are you allowed to run your code as many times as you want in an interview? It depends on the interview. A lot of ones I've been in, yes. Other ones, no, you get one run. You'll know before going in generally, in my experience, but it's hard to know for sure. I'm not gonna go and show people's kind of things in chat when I have done it quite yet. But what I am also gonna say is, one thing that Adam has done here is jump straight into programming his answer, which is not wrong, but it meant he made that initial mistake. So Adam, what could you do instead of just writing straight code right now? What would be a good thing to do instead?
Write a plan.
Yes, and so in comments, you might want to try and like pseudocode out what you intend to do. We've got someone saying, hey, where do we submit our code? Don't worry, just hold on to your REPL link for now. I'm gonna get some of you to send them into chat and we'll take a look at them on stream in just a little bit. So sit tight. And yeah, the data has gone, talk through your thought process, entirely right. So Adam, would you like to talk us through what you're thinking right now?
So I need to run a function every time for each number. So basically, I want to make it into a loop. So what I'll need in here is, hold on, I'm just going to make this a bit smaller so I can read what I need to do.
Pretty got this one too, amazing.
I'm going to read it very closely this time, so I want to make sure I don't miss anything.
While Adam reads that, hey, you should be writing it as a function because that's what the interview asks for.
So basically, I'm going to loop. Now, is it wanting me to put the single number into the function and then do everything inside the function?
What does it say? It says write a function. It's going to take a single number as an input, and the function will then print out numbers 1 through that number, but then conditionally replace with FizzBuzz or FizzBuzz. Silver Arrow, really interesting questions. Do you need to type the plan out on your file or can you write it on paper? Depends on the interview. If you're better with writing paper, like when I'm in stuff, I scribble stuff down all the time. Like at work, I scribble stuff down and plan it. I'm better at doing that. You might be better at planning it in code, it's whatever you think. The reason I'm getting Adam to do it in comments is so you can actually see it.
Do you want me to actually do this? Like actually write?
I want you to have a go at doing it. Just do what you do. Do whatever you can. Do what you think is right.
I think this one's quite simple, like for writing a full plan out. Like I feel if it was a more complicated program, perhaps the plan would be more necessary.
You said it's simple to write without writing the plan out, but you did just mess it up.
Yeah, because I didn't realise it was what exactly.
Which is why we write a plan, because if you plan it out, it's a lot easier to spot when you've not read it. So write me out a plan, Adam.
Because when I was reading the example output, I just thought it was a load of arbitrary numbers.
Did I ask you to read the example output, or did I ask you to read the question? See, this mini name says, hey, for anyone who joined late, can you repeat the exact question? It's on the side of Adam's screen. It's write a function. It takes a single input, a number, and it prints out 1 through that number. And if a number is divisible by 3, it prints fizz. If it's divisible by 5, it prints buzz. If it's divisible by 3 or 5, we print fizz buzz. That's kind of like, that's what we're trying to work on. It's called a FizzBuzz problem. It's a simple one we're getting started on. We'll be doing other ones that are a little bit more technical in a minute, but this is the first one. Lasky's asked an interesting question. Will interviews stop and talk with us to acknowledge errors like you're doing? No. Like, the reason I'm doing this is because we're on stream. This is a learning exercise. Interviewers What they will do is if you look at them and like be like, hey, like I think this is like a correct value. Like, do you have any insight here that you can share with me? They'll know what they can and can't tell you. My number one tip would be if you don't ask, you're not gonna get. And so you don't know what they're allowed to tell you and what they're not. If you're unsure, I would say there is no harm in trying to pull as much data out of them as you can. I'd also say it shows that you're like a lot of my job involves talking to people and asking questions and trying to figure things out. And like it shows that you're able to do that. So yeah.
I think this is my only username's got a good point there. I don't know if you can see the comment.
Yeah, so in this case, would it be permissible to rely on divisible by 15 rather than specify 3 and 5? Yes. Can anyone in chat think why that might not always be the right way? So I believe that would work, but can you think of a way, not like necessarily technical way, but a reason why you either wouldn't directly do that or why there's a potentially like consequences for doing it? Yeah, if you were changing the variables, yeah, but in this example, we're not. The reason I'm thinking is readability. So if I look at code and it's like 3 or 5, I can tell what that means. If I see 15, it's not intrinsically clear that that's what the original question asked for. And it does imply, like it would work, but it implies you're actually checking for divisible by 15, which I know is functionally the same, I guess, in this example, I think, but it's not really. Like in this specific use case, yes, but what if the use case changed slightly and it was important for it to be 3 and 5 for whatever reason? It's more for readability than anything. It's not for like, oh, it technically works different or anything. It's to make sure the human can understand, which is, if you're working in a big company, the most important thing is a human can dive into your code and vaguely understand it. For a more complex question, will the interview leave out small details? Like I asked you to make a function, rather than be interested in the logic. If the interviewer is leaving out small details, you might want to ask them for info on the small details. You might be like, hey, I am... They might be interested in logic, absolutely. We'll be going to one in a minute, which is slightly more complex, so hang tight. But if they're leaving out details, there's probably a reason they're leaving them out, is all I'm saying. And so you might want to go and dive. Yeah, FizzBuzz got a really point. 15 might be more efficient, but readability makes sense. It might be. I actually, off the top of my head, not sure. Because I think it will... I think actually, if it's a language that's compiled, I think it's functionally the same thing. But actually, the reason, I would, if there's a minute performance gain and you're not working on something that's going to be getting trillions of hits a minute, like, I personally, and unless you've got like 20 of these different minute performance games you could be doing, at which point, like, honestly, you're probably not in an interview anymore. You should be focused on a readability rather than, you know, this is perfectly optimized, if I'm entirely honest. What you could do in an interview, however, is you could do the 50, you could like do 3 and 5, come and optimize it. And while you're optimizing it, what you could do is like kind of put in these little things and making sure you're commenting them. You know, if you are going to do these little clever things, if they're not commented, it's not going to be good, because like they need to know that basically, if you work in a company you're getting uncommented code constantly, you will want to cry. I'm working on a repo right now where there is basically 0 documentation and very few comments, and it's like they're not going to want to hire someone who they think might do that, is what I'm going to say. So Adam's going to keep going with that. Since Adam's done a while, if you have done it, I'd like you to go on Replit and share the link. Make sure it's set to public, and then just pop the link in chat. For this workshop, we have unrestricted chat. Has the stream crashed for anyone else? Other than this is my new username, it shouldn't have crashed for anyone else.
For me.
Cool. So we're going to grab Eric JB's answer first. I do have a slight issue that it's very difficult for us to highlight text on our...
Do you want me to stick it up on mine?
Nah, it's all good. I can switch between them. So first of all, we're going to grab Eric's, because I'm curious to see what Eric has done. Here we go. And I think Eric's done it in a similar way to how I would do it. Let me just pull it up real quick. I'm not going to go for everyone's, obviously, but I'm going to show like a representative sample. So while Adam is coding that in the background, let's switch over. We'll go and test in a minute. Let's switch over to my screen. So this, I think, is Python. Yes, this is Python. Let me do the most important thing and turn this into dark mode. Okay, so
That's better.
We've got def FizzBuzz. It's gonna be number, input, enter number, and then it's gonna go and loop through. I like how you check for 3 or 5 first. So you basically, hey, instead of storing in a temporary variable, you're like, hey, can we get rid of this yet? You know, if it meets both, let's do FizzBuzz. If not, great. Let's just print fizz or buzz. Can anyone see a potential issue with this code? Actually, no. It is Aleph. It is Aleph. Okay, so that's not so bad. Are you printing the number? I'm curious. Let me try running this. So let's say let's run this code. So let's do python main.py. Why did that not work? Am I being really dumb, friends? It's called main.py, right? How do I run this? Python main? What do you mean invalid syntax? Oh, hang on. Python main.py, there we go. Enter number, let's do number 10. Can anyone see a potential issue with this kind of code? It's it's not printing everyone. It's not going 1, 2, 3. It's only printing the numbers with fizz or buzz. So it's not bad at all, but you're not quite there. But this is a really good attempt, and your logic is getting there. Yeah, they're not quite. You forgot to include the number. You did. But also, if it's free, you shouldn't be printing free. You should only be printing fizz. And also, one more thing. Be careful about the questions. So if I go back to this question, where is it? Here it is. No, it's not. I've lost it. But the question, I believe, was pretty specific. And it said it takes one number, which, here it is, actually. It takes a single input. To be fair, that is ambiguous enough. What I personally would have done is I'd have taken the input as a parameter. But technically in the kind of parameters of this interview question, that is correct. Let's go and have a look at some of your other ones. We've got this one in chat, which I'm gonna have a take a look at. This one, oh, this is in C#, C++, and it takes FizzBuzz. I'll be honest, I don't know C#, so I'm looking at this, but this logic seems to check out. And that's the important thing, right? I don't know the language, but I can look at this logic and be like, hey, if n, okay, so if we first of all check this, we go and output FizzBuzz, okay, and then we're gonna check for free, and then output this. We only run this if this is done, which is awesome. Now, what we could do is, oh, hang on, how's this working? So it says enter a number, takes a single input, it calls this function, so we're calling FizzBuzz. I'm curious about why, and to be entirely honest, this is just me not knowing. Actually, no, this is fine. As I'd say, I'm curious why you're printing to console, but no, that's totally right in this case. And you're printing fizz, FizzBuzz, buzz, and then if it's not, if it fails all, you're just printing the number, which is, I think the logic here looks good. I don't have to run this, but this looks right to me, to be honest. Let's go head back to Adam and see how he's doing. Don't worry, I'm gonna have a look at some of yours in a minute.
That's better.
How's it looking?
Light. You can actually see me now.
Yes. Okay, so you've got your first one. You check if it's equal to both, and then you check free, and then you check fizz, buzz, and then you're gonna have another go. Do you think that works?
I think that should work.
Do you wanna have a go?
This doesn't work now. It's not going to look good on this. Oh.
Unexpected. I think you missed out a semicolon, I think, on line 20. And
26. Oh,
on line 26, you also, 24, you missed one. Yeah. Go on, give it a go.
Job's getting me into Python.
So you're going to input a number?
And I come back to C#.
20. Enter.
Whoa.
And you got 1, 2, 3. Yep. That looks to me like it's working. Well done, Adam. I know the pressure when you're on stream is quite a lot, but I think that looks to me like the right output. So well done. That's a super great job. Everybody, can we have a clap in chat? That's super, super cool. But everybody's gone saying, hey, can you put a question on Discord? Yeah, I'll throw a question on Discord in a minute.
Just the pressure of being on stream. It's actually 10 to 3 in the morning as well.
Well done, Adam. You did super great there. I'm going to go and let you take a break, but can we all have a clap in chat for Adam? Because that was super, super well done.
Fine. I'll see you later.
See you in a bit. So Adam did really, really well there. I'm going to have a try solving it on stream, which is never going to end well. My hair's going slightly crazy here. So let me have a go. Let me get chat out the way and let me make sure I've got my notes open so I can speak out loud while I do this, because I want to make sure I'm actually, rather than just kind of giving you the answers, I want to actually talk my way through it. So here we go. So remember, tip 1, ask questions. And I'm thinking in my head, do I have any questions to ask? No, I understand I need to take Fizz. I understand I need to take Buzz. I can understand that. And it needs to be FizzBuzz if it's 3 and 5. And I think I should return 3 and 5 first. Because divisible by 3 and divisible by 5 will definitely be the case if it's divisible by 3 and 5. And so in certain applications, there's going to be a performance benefit there because I'm not having to do like multiple ifs. And I need to make a function, and that function is going to be, okay, so first of all, it's going to be, it's going to be open the function, and it's going to check if divisible by 3 and 5. After that, I'm going to be check if divisible by 3. My spelling's not great. That's it. Oh, I'm not showing my screen. Whoops. Sorry, friends. There you go. And then I'm going to be check if divisible by 5. And then print number if not divisible. Can't spell today by either. Okay, cool. So that's kind of our outline. So let's go and like fill this in now. So I'm going to say, hey, def check. Let's just do def FizzBuzz. That's going to take an input, and that input is going to be number. And just for the sake of time, I'm not going to go and like check for the correct one. So what I'm going to do is then have a loop, and I want to say for x in range. So for every number between, and it's between 1 and it is our number add 1. And that's because we want to make sure we're printing out our number itself, and otherwise don't think it will, I'm fairly sure, but we'll check that at the end. And I'm going to go and say, is there on line 2? Is there an error on line 2? Oh, whoops, there is an error on line 2. Thanks, friend. Okay, so we're going to check this. I'm going to say if x can be divided by 3 equals to 0. So basically, if we do this division, if there's no remainder, which means it can be divided, we can print fizz. Obviously, I'm doing this wrong right now. I'm going to flip it around in a minute. So we can print fizz. Else, if x is divisible by 5, print buzz. And if it's divisible by 3 and x is divisible, oh, whoops. Coding and talking at the same time is difficult, friends, bear with. And x is divisible by 5, then we want to print FizzBuzz. But at the same time, I know that I want to go and optimize this, so I'm going to swap these around. I'm going to check this first of all, because that way we can not worry about any of these if it matches both cases. And it'll also it'll make sure that we don't have any multiple prints, which is awesome. Because if we had it last, it might print fizz and then FizzBuzz, for example, if it was divisible by 3 and 5, which would be bad. So let's go and change this here to be divisible by 3. And then we're going to put 3 is fizz, 5 is buzz. Okay, so we've done that. And then otherwise, and to be clear, I'm not doing the most perfectly optimized solution here. I'm just explaining how I would talk out loud. And so that's fails. So, okay, if it fails all of these, I'm just going to print. Let's just say else. It's failed all of these checks. Just going to print x. And that's going to be my function. And so let's go and just kind of check indentation. This looks right. I'm going to get rid of these comments. In a natural interview, you would probably leave some in, but I'm just going to get rid of them for now. And I'm just going to say, hey, FizzBuzz. And I'm going to say, let's say 20, just because it's easy. And then I'm going to go into here, and I'm going to say python main.py. And it's going to do 1, 2, fizz, 4, and then 5, and then 6 is fizz. Yep, 7, and the one I want to check is 15, but 15 is saying fizz. And that's because I made a typo. You know, I refactored, but when I refactored, I messed things up. So let's do buzz. And, you know, we don't want to mess up the buzz. And so let's make sure, you know, we are checking the parameters of a question. Amazing. Let's save. Let's run that now. And to me now, that looks like we're getting what we want. Now, St. Nivar is in chat saying, hey, we could just write the conditional for 3 and 5 is 15. We talked about that earlier, and the reason we're not doing that is to make sure it's readable. So we absolutely could do 15, but if we did that, we'd have to make sure we comment it of we are checking divisible by 3 and 5 here. The important thing is you're speaking out loud, you're showing your workings. You don't just want to be showing your like straight answer, and that's what we're doing. And for the people looking for dark mode, it's under here. So that's kind of where my head's at. That's how I would think it. And okay, so I'm talking out loud. I'm saying my answer. I'm saying, so we first of all take our input. That's our number. We then loop through every number between that number and that number plus 1. And sorry, between 1 and that number plus 1. We first of all check if it's divisible by 15 in this example, because that means I know it's divisible by 3 and 5. And because we're using elif, this if statement will stop there, and that has performance benefits. Otherwise, we just keep going down. We're going to check 5 first, and then we're going to check 3. They're going to print their respective fizz or buzz. And if all of these fail, we know that it's not divisible by 3 and it's not divisible by 5. So finally, I'm just going to go and print the number. Now, obviously, that took a little while, even though it's a simple question. So do keep an eye on time when you're doing things. So, yeah, Adam says an interesting example would be 6 and 4. I agree. So that's our kind of example, and that's kind of like our fairly easy one that we've talked about so far. We're gonna have a go at a slightly more advanced one now. So please don't worry, right? I'm gonna say if you're a new programmer, chances are you're gonna find this next one a little bit tough, but that's totally fine. I'm actually gonna give you quite a bit longer for this one. I'm actually gonna give you around 20 minutes. So you're gonna have plenty of time. And while you're doing it, I'm gonna go and, while you're having a go, I'm gonna go and try do some other stuff on stream. So it's gonna be interesting. Fuzzy has a good question now. Should you explain literally everything about why a larger elif? Yeah, there's no harm in giving them too much. There's a lot of harm in giving them too little. And so I would say, well, that's technically not true, but I would err on the side of oversharing. Obviously not in most interview questions, but in like technical questions. And I would say like, literally explain like, this is a performance optimization doing it this way. It means that I don't have to worry about these cases being checked. And you know, that just reduces the complexity, you know, that kind of thing. So I would say that's good. I'm going to put this question on Discord in a second, but I'm going to show the next one first because I want to go and do some other stuff. So let me go and pull up the slides and show you your next challenge. It's going to go and talk us through something that we already know, but that's fine. So just pull this up. What I'm going to do is I'm going to invite someone on stream. They're going to talk us through the problem like I just did. You should all follow on Replit too. And when time is up, answer. We've already done this. The next question is going to be about string rotation. It says time 35 minutes, but when we're on stream, we are going to give you 20. And we actually are going to stick to 20, so don't ask for more. And what we're going to do is we're going to say we're going to write a function. It's going to take 2 string inputs. And it returns true if they are a rotation of each other. Now, one thing I want to clarify before we start this question. When I say rotation, I do not mean they have been reversed, okay? I want to be entirely clear. What I mean when I say rotation is I'm saying, hey, like A, B, C, D, or it could be B, C, D, A. We're in the same order, but we've taken this end and put it at the start. We could have taken the 2 at the end and put them at the start, right? That is what a rotation is. So it's like, there might be other ways of referring to it. They might be useful. But have a look. I want you to try doing it in whatever language you can think of. I'm going to try doing it in Python when it's my turn. While you're having a go, and before I get someone on stream, I'm going to get someone on stream in 10 minutes. So I'm going to give you 10 minutes before, even if you're coming on stream, to have a go at this, just so you can start getting code down on the page. While you're doing that, yeah, it's kind of like the ticket banner. So you got 10 minutes, and then another 10 minutes when someone's on stream. I want you to write a function, like this example one. It takes 2 string inputs, and if the second one is a rotation of the first, or the first is a rotation of the second, which, pro tip, gonna give you a hint here. If the first is a rotation of the second is also a rotation of the first. I want you to print true. If they are not a rotation, I want you to print false. I'm gonna go and screenshot this question for you, and I'm gonna throw it into Discord in the LHD interviews channel right now. So I've given you extra context there. you wouldn't necessarily get that extra context during an actual interview, just as a heads up. They would expect you to ask those questions, but since you can't all come on stream, that's why I've given you that extra context. And you can go to the LHD interview thing here. Someone's asking me to explain rotation again. I'm gonna be honest, I'm not gonna do that. And the reason I'm not gonna do that is I want you to try and work it out from the example that's on my screen right now, and also that's in Discord. So have a look and see if you can work out what rotation is, because in an actual interview, they're not gonna go and clarify. So I'm gonna give you 10 minutes. Then at 10 minutes, we're gonna bring someone on stream to try and show us our solution so far and try and finish solving it. And then, so you're gonna have 20 minutes total before we're gonna show the answer on stream, or at least what I think the answer is, okay? And the string is a user input because obviously this is a parameter. Can there be duplicate characters? Let me think. I think so, yes. For the sake of ease, let's say there is no duplicate characters, just to make your life a bit easier, because I'm not going to go and try and verify that right now. So let's say no for this specific use case. While you're doing that, I want to give you a couple of options, because I'm happy to do a couple of different things. Is there any interest in us having a look at people's LinkedIn during this 10 minutes while people are having a look, and just have a look at people's LinkedIn and just get a bit of feedback on it? Like, I'll be honest, I don't hire people particularly, but I talk quite a lot of to people who do, and so I kind of know what they're looking for, and I know some kind of big red flags. Would people like us to do that? Because I'm happy to. The only username says, do we need to account for case, Unicode, etc.? Good question to ask. As I'm the interviewer, I'm going to say you are only going to get capital letters in this example. And that's why you ask questions, because, you know, if otherwise, you know, you might not know that. So in this example, you are only going to be receiving capital letters. And yeah, the capital letters are always like going to just be capitals. There's going to be no numbers, there's no going to be punctuation or spaces or anything. It's literally just going to be capital letters. And they are going to be English capital letters before anyone tries what if they're Russian. It's going to be A to Z from the English alphabet. People want to have a look at LinkedIn while we do it. Yeah, capital ASCII letters, let's say. Header string is going to be the same length. Not necessarily. Good question to ask. Okay, so I've answered the main questions I think you need to know. People want us to have a look at LinkedIn's while we give people time to answer this question. So what I want you to do is, if you want me to have a look at your LinkedIn and give me kind of my opinion on it, which again is not going to be the best opinion in the world, I want you to throw the link in chat right now. We have unrestricted links for this workshop only. This is my only username. This is my only username. That is something you should be accounting for in your code. That's all I'm going to say. Like, okay, we've got the first person who'd like to check out their interview. We've got Aaron. So Aaron, I'm gonna go and pull up yours first. So here we go, we're straight here. And okay, now, let me know in chat, be nice, we're being like supportive here. But what do people think in chat when they see this kind of LinkedIn? What's your opinion? And also before I say anything, I wanna show you mine and be like entirely outright. Mine is going to break some of the rules you see right now. Like, I'm in the process of like updating stuff on this. So like this has tons of missing details, and that is like I need to fix. That doesn't, like, I'm doing it wrong too, to be clear. So no profile picture is an interesting one. I agree. Aaron, you might actually have one set, but your permissions mean I can't see it. And your about section just says computer science student at University of Utah. And you are a computer science student at the University of Utah, but I'm also sure you're so much more. And, you know, I would have a Google, because there is a specific way people advise you write LinkedIn about pages or like about sections. But a little pro tip I learned off someone, LinkedIn, when you search for things, and especially when a recruiter searches for things, the keywords that are actually in your about section are used to sort you and filter you. They are used in LinkedIn's search algorithm. So you should take advantage of this. So let's come down here. You've got University of Utah, you've got your bachelor's degree in computer science, you've got your start and end dates. So I'm looking at this and I'm like, but what do you learn during this? Like, I'm a non-technical recruiter. Like, did you learn networking? Did you learn programming? Like, here's the thing, right? Like, we all do CS, we know, but the people at HR who first look might be like, well, I need to look for this, and they might not see it. And the other thing is, like, every single computer science degree is different. So if there's anything kind of stand out, you might want to mention it. You got your athlete stuff. This is good. It's worth including. You know, it makes you look like a more rounded person. You've got a little bit of description here. I would recommend potentially adding a bit more. Again, mine is not good, to be entirely clear. I'm not saying this is perfect, but you'll notice, you know, I have got bits and then you can see more and less. So it's like, it's not tons, but there is the detail there, right? And again, you know, this is a place to get keywords in, which then will be used in LinkedIn search algorithms. I like how you put some courses in here. I think you're probably, you know, you're not in your first year, but you're still a fairly new student, all things considered. So I think, you know, this is where I'd expect, you know, you've got your courses, which is good. I do like that. You've got your skills. You know, if you've got people who you've worked with in the past, it might be worth getting them kind of included, like as recommendations. That's what I did, like people I've worked with before and stuff. They've got my recommendations here, just gives me a bit of credibility. They've also kind of rated me on here. Again, mine is not the best example ever. This mini username has an interesting one saying, would you recommend people not actively looking for jobs, including students, have a LinkedIn profile if they already have a portfolio on their website? Yes. The reason why is your portfolio website is not going to show up on a Google search unless they're specifically searching for you. Your LinkedIn might show up on Google, but your LinkedIn profile will show up if they're looking for CS students who could potentially do summer internships at school X. And that's why it's worth having one, because it's how you get these opportunities in the first place. You're not going to be a student forever, and so it's worth looking at where you can get them from, right? So that's kind of like my key things is, you know, make sure you got like something here. You know, make sure. I think this is quite good self-employed, but I would say like your job isn't iconic photo. Your job is probably photographer, and you're self-employed at iconic photo. Like I know it's probably a self-employed one, but you can totally just put iconic photo as like the thing. It makes it kind of look slightly more legit. But if that is the brand you're using when you're doing photography or whatever, that's totally chill. Again, the reason I say this is because these names of the jobs are used within this search algorithm when people filter. So that's worth saying. Okay, I'm gonna choose a couple of random ones. Aaron, I hope that was somewhat useful. Let me go pull up. Vic is the first one I saw, so I'll do Vic. We've got Victoria. Okay, interesting. First of all, your profile picture is private unless you're connected. It's not a bad thing though. That is not a bad thing. If I was in your network for degree I am second degree. I would potentially look at your privacy settings unless you're like really against it, so people in your second degree can see, even if you don't want to set it entirely public. Just because a lot of people from that do connect with me quite a lot. I like how you are a student, I think. Yeah, I like how you're a student, except you've not put student, you've put like, you're a software enthusiast and what you're inspiring to do. I think that's so good because it means people, first of all, they look at you and they're like, okay, this is what this person wants to do. Because you might be a student, but again, you're more than just a student. I like your about, it's probably a bit small, but I like how it gets your personality across. I think this is good and it's quite critical of yourself. You got tons of work experience, which is like absolutely awesome. And so you got like all the different things you've done. I like how you have a little write-up. I like how you've got like the things you've kind of done tagged on as well, and you've explained what they are, and you created this, which is awesome. You know, you've got your education experience, which I think is great. You've got your licenses and certifications. Again, really good. If you have got a certification, throw it on. Sometimes people filter by them. I'm going for some Red Hat ones at the moment, and it just means that when people search for Red Hat, it'll show up. I will say, do not go and get certifications just for the hell of it if you don't already have one. Like, don't feel pressure to do that. A lot of people are like, I need to go and get every possible certificate in the world. Nah, no you don't. They're nice to have, if anything. You got your volunteer experience. I like how you've included this. I think this is pretty awesome. I think your write-ups, actually, I'm only skim reading them, but I think your write-ups are pretty great. You've got endorsements, you've got your courses, you got your honors and awards, you've got your organizations. I really like this. Honestly, Victoria, the only main things I could say, or Vic even, is, you know, maybe just check your profile picture, privacy settings. And if you've worked with people in the past, you've got so much work experience, it might be worth, like, if there's anything relevant to what you're doing nowadays, which I think you're someone who's career changing, so it might be hard. But if you do have anyone, get them to throw a recommendation here, even if it's just like another student you work with quite a lot. It's worth doing, just so when people look for like, hey, this person has actually done stuff, they've worked with people, right? So that's kind of my opinion. Interesting one I just saw in chat is certifications are good if you aren't in a school or code bootcamp. That is disputed, and I'm not gonna go into the specifics on stream, but I will say this isn't, like, I'm not saying this is untrue, but I'm not saying this is true either. So you should be showing experience. Certifications I don't think are bad. I would say projects and actually showing stuff you've made are infinitely better. So being able to go like, I made this, you know, there's no harm in them. If, this is again my personal opinion on what I've heard from other people, ignore LinkedIn for a second if you've got a resume and you've got the option of having a certification or a project and your project's decent, I would probably throw the project there. But that's my opinion. You may disagree. That is okay. Okay, let me go and have a look at some other people's. And yes, let's do expire. I'm going to look at one more person's before we go and have someone try and solve it on stream. I think Blair really wanted to solve on stream, so we'll let them. Let me see whose that is. I've got Adam's. Let's do Adam's real quick because he came on stream. So Adam, oh, whoops. I like you got a profile picture. That's awesome. I like how you got a banner. That's awesome. You got your, what you are. You got, it's like something you've done. You know, you were third place world champion. You know, great. I like how you've got like, obviously you're still in high school, I think, but I like how you are showing like the fact you have worked in a place. Like it's a Costa, which is kind of like Starbucks if you're in the US, or Tim Hortons if you're in Canada. But I do like how you've included it because it is work experience. It's totally valid experience to put on. Your about page is great. You know, it's a little bit short, I would say, but it's great. The fact you've got it as a kind of school student. You got your own company, which is pretty cool. Which, you know, you've included it. And obviously, if you got it, is awesome. If you do have your own company where you're self-employed, I would say make the LinkedIn page so you can set the graphic just for the sake of making it look slightly more legit. It doesn't cost anything to make the LinkedIn page. You know, you got your experience, you got your certs, volunteer experience, which is good. Yeah, honestly, this is great. Obviously, as a high schooler, it might be difficult to go and get those recommendations in, but if there is anyone, you know, you've won competitions and stuff, so if you have worked with anyone potentially in the industry who would be willing to give you one, no harm in doing that, I don't think. You know, why not is what I would say almost. Let me have a look. I'll do one more real quick. And I'm gonna have a look at Blair's going on stream, so we'll have a look at Blair's next. I will come back to some more, don't worry if I've not got to yours yet. So here is Blair, or as Blair is called in real life, Namtran. I like how you're active on LinkedIn. You've got posts. You don't have a ton, but you have actually done stuff, I think. So yeah, if you are celebrating stuff, you are sharing stuff, that's probably good because it means you're showing up in people's feed. I like how if you are potentially going to be working in 2 countries, you have it in multiple languages. It's not actually in multiple languages, but if it was, that'd be cool. You've got, okay, CSIS, I don't necessarily know what this means. It's a club at a university, I think. If I click it, does it tell me? Computer science student. I would just, it might be you use, like if people that you're working with would like, you know what this acronym is, great. If they're not, just be careful about using acronyms. But club president, awesome. Really good to have in your resume or your LinkedIn, you know, if you're still a student, just get it on there. You know, you got the fact you're a competitor, you've done this, you're showing your projects, you're a teaching assistant as well, which is pretty awesome. You're showing, you know, the fact you started in math and now you're doing CS, and you've shown that kind of progression. You've got all of this on, which I think is really good. You've got your education on, you've got your certs, which is cool. You've got your volunteer experience. Different people have different opinions on this. And the way I did it when I had my student ambassador and stuff, I did lots of different bits, but I only had it as one singular thing running from like when I started to when I finished, and then flagged up the individual things in there. I don't think there's like a specific best way of doing it. It's just like, there will be, like, you don't want to get your profile too long, is what I'm going to say. So it's like, maybe compress it. I don't think this is bad, but if you start getting like 5 of these, you might want to consider it, is all I'm saying. You got, you know, got your 2 languages on there, great, which means you'll show up in kind of, you know, your searches for both languages, which is awesome. You got all your courses you've taken. Yeah, this is good. Again, just maybe try and get more people to recommend you if you can. You know, this is good. This is, obviously check your privacy settings as well. Make sure you know, I can see this, I can see this. If you have a club president, you might want to make a LinkedIn page for your club as well. Just saying. But yeah, I think this is not a bad profile at all, especially for like a student. Like, this is better than mine was when I was in like the middle of my degree. So great job. You should be really, really proud. Blair, are you still good to come on stream? Let me know in chat. I will come back to people. Should you treat your LinkedIn as a CV? No, it's different. Google it. I can't go into the details, but like literally Google difference between LinkedIn and resume, or difference between LinkedIn and CV, because the things that should be on one are not on the other is kind of what I would say. Blair is ready to go on stream. Okay, Blair, what is your Discord username? Can you tell me? And I will try and find you. Okay, then I think Adam should have bullet points. This is controversial. People don't... There's kind of disagreement on whether it's bullet points or paragraphs, and I don't actually know which one I feel is best. So yeah, our generation doesn't know CVs. CV is named for it in the UK and much of Europe, and if you're ever going to work internationally, it's important to go and adapt, because I might say resume on stream, but I always got taught CV. And so, you know, it's important to use whichever language it is in the place that you live in. Okay, Glue Pretzel, let's go and share it to you. Let's go get Glue Pretzel on stream real quick. Hang tight, friends. It's really difficult to like type and talk at the same time. Here we go. Glue Pretzel, bleh. Let's go and send you a friend request. Can you go and accept that real quick? And then I'll go and bring you on stream. Oh, hello, it's me. I can see myself. That's cool. Blair has accepted my friend request. Do you see CVs with full sentences? Not really. Well, full sentence, yeah, kind of. Like CV style full sentence, rather than like full sentence, if that makes sense. Okay, so we're gonna get Blair on stream, and Blair is gonna have a go at this. I can't promise to look at anyone's anything, because I do need to sleep tonight, but I can if I want. Do I think? I'll be honest, it doesn't matter what I think. I'm just giving my, like, what I think from what I've heard of other people. What matters is the place you're applying to work at. So Google what the experts think, is what I'm gonna say. Literally just Google it. Like, I know it sounds like I'm being like, you should go and Google it. Like, I don't care. No, it's actually because, like, my opinion on this doesn't really matter. It's what the data says, what people prefer is what matters, to be entirely honest. I'm leader of Vista. Okay, you want my opinion? I have gone back and forth. I don't think they should be big, long paragraphs, and I think bullet points have a place. I actually use bullet points for emojis on mine. I also use emojis on my CV, though, to be fair, in sensible places. But to be clear, don't go and put emojis on your CV unless, like, you have a reason. I use it for, like, column headers to make it easier to read. But yeah, I think, and like for email icon and stuff. I think a little bit of blurb followed by a couple of bullet points is probably the way I would do it, but that kind of depends. I'll show you my CV in a bit, possibly, maybe. Glue Pretzel, give me a thumbs up and turn your camera on if you're ready to join me on stream and you're gonna try and solve this live. I don't see a thumbs up yet. I don't see a thumbs up yet at all. I see lots of frantic typing. Just a quick recap while Glue Pretzel tries to do this. You want to go and we're asking you to make a function. It takes 2 parameters, and we check if one is rotation of the other. Glue Pretzel, I'm going to give you 5 seconds to give me a thumbs up, otherwise I'm bringing you on stream anyway. Cool, thumbs up. Hello, how are you doing?
Hello.
How is life?
Pretty cold here.
Pretty cold? Where are you from?
Sacramento.
But cold, fun. So would you like to share your screen and we'll have a look at your go? People who are looking for kind of like LinkedIn and stuff, I'll have a look. So yeah. Data has got an interesting thing saying, hey, I worked in creating the path. It was a drag to read sentences, but it could just be me. Yeah, it's like, I definitely don't think you should have long paragraphs, to be clear. What I was saying is like a 2 or 3 sentence blurb followed by kind of bullet points is what I was thinking. Again, this is my opinion. My opinion is worth nothing in this. Okay, so Glue Pretzel is gonna come on here. And can you do me a favor and just set your font size and settings to huge? It might already be. Click the cog on the left sidebar.
Left.
Yeah, over left, that left, yeah, that left. And just set the font size to huge. Awesome sauce. Okay, cool. So you're also doing it in Java. I don't know Java, so it's gonna be fun. But talk me through out loud what you think you're doing.
So because you said that we're gonna take user input, so I'm gonna make just to scan across and take a user input from that.
Yep.
Then for rotate, I'm just gonna make a function for that, of course.
Okay, you're gonna split it up into 2 separate functions?
I mean, there's only one function rotate, right? Just like how you
Okay.
So, yeah. Maybe it's easier if I just comment and
Yeah, start commenting it, start getting it on the page.
Okay. Good. That's done.
While Bled does this, I'm going to show you in chat, I'm going to put in Discord the solution. The first solution that MLH has as the official solution. But there is a second one I'm going to be sharing. So Bled's doing this. Bled, you're not allowed to go and look in Discord while you type this, because that would be cheating. We can't have that. Okay. So here is in a Python, so you just the logic, there is other ways of doing this, there is other correct answers, you can do it in any language. But in chat now is a solution you can use. I'm actually going to show you a much simpler one as well, but I'm not going to do it yet. Okay, so you take it, it's a function that is rotate, and you need to import something. Which is a scanner?
Yeah.
Okay, well, I don't know Java. What's a scanner?
So a scanner is basically, kind of like package thing to gather user input.
Okay.
It's like the easiest way to get user input. Like the most basic, yeah.
Okay.
So I'm just gonna have a prompt here. Start out. Dot print. Yeah. So what this do is that I'm just gonna print out line, and I'm just gonna use that to print out please input string.
Yep.
So that's been for that. Now it's just gonna take the string.
While Bled does this, one thing I do want to say is when I say write a function that takes 2 string inputs, that could just be parameters. Again, it's unclear, it's ambiguous. If you're in an actual interview, you would ask. You can just take 2 parameters here. That's what inputs is referring to in this question, but this is not wrong because it is ambiguous. My solution confuses you. I will explain it in a second, Adam, once Bled's had a go. Okay, what next?
So because we are comparing 2 strings in a sense, I'm gonna ask for another input.
Okay, so you're gonna ask for 2 strings. Awesome.
Just to make it kind of different.
Okay.
In line.
So you're gonna ask for 2 inputs. You've got those 2 inputs. What are you gonna do now? What are you gonna check? Or what kind of logic are you gonna use?
So first of all, I'm just gonna ask you again because you're the employer or interviewer after all. Rotate is basically checking for the first character of the first string and see if it's the same of the first.
It could be the first, it could be the first 3, it could be the other way. What I'm asking you for is that you got 4 characters. If I shift them, and if I shift it by 2, the first 2 will go on the front. So I've got A, B, C, D. Like a C, D, A, B would be a rotation of that.
All right.
And so.
Oh, so it can be 2 at once.
Yeah, I'm gonna ask you for kind of 2 inputs, and it's like, is B an input of A is basically what I'm asking you to check. So like A, B, C, D, like C, D, A, B would be a rotation, whereas B, C, D, A wouldn't be because they're not in the same order. They've not just been shifted, if that makes sense. So tell us that, hey, you forgot to create a scanner at the beginning just so things aren't broken later on. It doesn't inherently ask you to, it only asks you for the function. It's worth making way of being able to demo it in your interview. But it's not inherently needed for this question, but I would advise it. The Discord, if you go into #LHD interview, that's where the solutions are being posted. So Blue, explain what you're doing for me right now.
So I'm creating the rotating method.
Yeah.
So that's just gonna check the 2 strings that I used the input earlier.
It's gonna take 2 strings. Yep. So you've got these strings. What is the first thing you're gonna check? In a natural interview, the interviewer wouldn't walk you through like this. I'm just doing it so we can kind of get the example down. So what's the first check you're gonna do?
They're the same length.
Yep.
Yeah.
And why are you checking this?
If they're not the same length, then it's kind of like one string has an unfair advantage over the other, so it's not
Absolutely. I've been asked to turn Glue's mic volume up. Glue, say something now.
Hello.
Is that any better, chat? Hopefully it's a little bit easier to hear now. I can do it a little bit more if needed. No, it's okay. I can do it on my end. It's all good.
Okay. So I guess I can.
I am a loud person. That's better. Amazing. If you need a little bit more, let me know. Okay. So what next? You're gonna check if they're the same length. How are you gonna do that?
Well, I can always like pause.
Should you really have if they're the same length as your first check?
I just realized I think you can finish this method in like one line.
Go on then. Maybe. But don't try and do that. Just talk me through first. Talk me through first.
Okay, so I'm gonna check for same length.
Same length, yeah, absolutely. But actually, before I check if they're the same length, there's actually a much easier thing I can check. Are they the same?
Oh.
Because if they're the same, they're inherently, right? Get that case out the way. Get it done. There's no reason not to. Have I used recursion? Someone asked in chat. The example that's currently in Discord used recursion. On stream, I'm going to show you an example which didn't. Because you'll notice the recursion one is not perfect. You know, it's not bad, but it's not perfect. But it does use recursion.
So, well, I guess I can call an if.
Yeah, so you're going to check if they're the same string.
Equal.
Everyone in chat, can you, while he has a go, can you go and share me your answers? Can you share me your Replit links in chat, please? Because while he's doing it, I want to take a look at some of yours. Because I'm curious to see how some of you have solved this. I'm sure you've got some really, really good solutions. Can I resend the Replit link? It's Replit, so I'll pop it in chat for you right now. Repl.it if you want to go and make a Replit. So Blair, keep going, and while you do that, I'm going to go and show some other solutions on the stream, so don't look, because that would be cheating. Let me go and find where I left from Twitch window. Here it is. So Blair's going to do this, and while Blair is doing this, let me go and pull up. The data is gone, I think was in there first. So let's open up the data is gone's, and let's show it on my screen. Okay, so you're going to check rotation, you're going to take two strings, absolutely. If they're not even rotated, great, first one to check, print true, return true. I can't remember what did it ask us to do? Did it ask us to print or did it ask us to return? Let me just double check the question.
It's asking for return, but I'm just going to use, print to show the result of the...
Yeah, that's fine. Like, there's no harm in printing it, just to make it easier.
Right.
You're doing this, obviously, you could literally just do, instead of like printing it, you could just do print, go away.
And just print down here, right?
Yeah, just print down here.
Yeah.
On this Python example, it's gonna yell at me every time I do something. But yeah, you don't need these prints. So you can check if we've rotated, cool. And then you're gonna check if the string rotator is either side, otherwise nope. I'm not going to run this live, but I don't think this would work in all cases, because what if it's been shifted by 2 or 3 or 4? Would that work? Yeah, all good, data is gone, all good, all good. But you actually, you can print, but you don't have to print here, you can just print down here. Like, you can output the result of the console. If string 1 equals string 2 however rotated, this is the fact that, yeah. They are technically rotated. I think in this example, we are considering a rotation a true, I think. But again, in an actual interview, you would ask that question, because that's a good point. The link is in Discord if you're after the actual kind of solution. I'm not sure. I'm not sure. Let me try running this real quick. I'm going to try doing... let me just get rid of this. I'm going to do... Oh, it's going to yell at me every time. E. I'm going to say A-D-E. Just want to see if this runs. True. Okay. Maybe I'm being dumb. Maybe this is correct. Hang on. Oh, hang on. This should be returning false. Yeah, that's reverse, not rotate. You want to check your... Yeah, remember, I didn't say check for reverse. That's why I'm confused. Yeah, you want to check if it is rotated. Which, if you got to be careful, look at the examples you get given in interviews, because this is not quite a rotation. Discord is discord.mlh.io. You'll have to check into local hack day. Let me know if you have any problems. We're going to take a look at Glue's solution so far before we go and take a look at someone else's. How's it going, Glue?
I'm not sure, but I'm trying.
Data, because you put it in first, that's why yours is the one on stream. It's... What is a palindrome? It's like... So it's not a palindrome as such, because like Hannah, my sister's name would be a palindrome. And that means it's the same forward and backwards. We're not checking it's the same forward and backwards. We're checking, you know, if has this been shifted or not. You know, like A, B, C, D, if we rotate it by 2, becomes C, D, A, B. Same order, but like kind of there's a different start point almost. And that's what we're checking. You actually went in first, but your LinkedIn didn't. I'm so sad. No, data is gone. There's going to be time for us to look at LinkedIn's. Don't worry. How's it going, Glue Pretzel?
I think I'm done.
You think you're done?
Yep.
Okay, do you want to try running it with... I want you to put your first input as A, B, C, D, E.
Okay.
Oh! It's all good.
Oh,
it's
I
all
didn't
good.
got it.
Things go wrong. What did you do wrong?
I did not initialize the scanner, so...
Yep, make sure you do.
I help myself there.
Yeah, Taylor's totally right. We're checking if it's shifted without changing the order of the letters. A shift of 0 still means it's shifted in this case. Data's like, please don't look at my LinkedIn. Fair enough. If you're confused, don't worry. I'm going to show you my example in a second. So many people who are confused. Oh, you go, sorry, Blair.
A, B, C, D? Right?
Yeah, it's A, D, C, D, and then I'd like to do C, D, A, B.
C, D, A, B.
Yep.
Oh, it's not going to work.
Why is it not going to work?
Because I'm only checking for the first letter here.
Yep.
Like if they have switch.
Yep. You got to make sure you're checking for multiple cases. So Blair's going to have a go at that. I'm going to make you all... while Blair's doing that, I'm going to give him a little quick break from stream to see if he can work out things, because obviously I'm going to show him an answer, or all of you an answer in Python. He's going to be using Java, so it's not going to quite match up. While he does that, and Blair, you are coming back on stream, just as a heads up. While he does that, I want to show you a really simple example. Are we ready to have some face palms in chat? Because I sure am. So I put one answer in Discord, but one answer is this. If I just flick this through. So you can say, we're going to make a function called rotate. It takes a string, a candidate, and a stop. String is your first one. Candidate is your second one, effectively. We're called slightly weird things here. And stop is just something we store something in. And it's just a quote. If you're asking for the question, it's in Discord in the LHD interview channel. So the first thing we check is, you know, does it equal? If it does, we just say true. We say, hey, does it equal stop? Have we tried every rotation? And if we've tried all the rotations, we say false. And this is unclear code, so we've commented it. And you know, if it's not equal to stop, then we say stop is equal to candidate. So we effectively have shift from round. We then rotate it by like calling candidate. We basically take a slice and pop it on the end, and then we rotate. Because it's recursion based, you know, it's gonna keep running until it like finally returns effectively. It's gonna kind of get deeper into this rabbit hole. Yeah, this is like, obviously we're taking a little while on this, but now interestingly, well, this is a really good important point that's been put in chat, is I can never get used to recursion. Even me, right here, trying to explain it. Yeah, Coding Polar Bear's got it. It's like you rotate one by one, absolutely. But this is unclear. Like, I'm explaining it to you, and it's still difficult, and it could be potentially infinite. I don't know. I've not error checked this. So this is totally correct. This will work. It will keep rotating until ultimately it works or it doesn't. It'll basically rotate until it's got all the way through itself. And if it's got all the way through itself, it'll return the fact it's false. Otherwise, it will just return true. Obviously, you know, with huge long numbers, or huge long strings, this could break. And so this is why we always check in the interview, like, what are the parameters? But actually, really importantly, someone was like, recursion's confusing. It is. So how about I show you an example which doesn't use recursion? How does this sound? So Let me just explain this actually real quick. We check if the candidate is the same as a string, if so it's valid. Stop means we rotate it all the way through, so there's no combinations. If the stop is empty, and don't worry, you're gonna get emailed these slides. If the stop is empty, then we set it to be the candidate, so we know when to stop. Because if it's empty, it means it's the first run of the function, it's not inside recursion. And then ultimately we begin on line 8, rotating a string. Now that's great and all, but that's a little bit confusing. So if you use Python, you could also just do this. So we take an original and a candidate, and we just return the result of this. Now, always make use of language-specific features. If you're coding in Python, you can do this. If they don't want you doing that, we're going to tell you. I didn't tell you couldn't, so you could. So basically, to shortcut the algorithm, we ensure the lengths are the same. If they're not the same, we just return false straight away. We don't even do any checks. Next, we double the original string. We basically get it and pop it on the end of itself. And then we check whether the candidate is inside of that. Why do you think we do that? Why do you think we double it? Yeah, why do we just double it? Can anybody think why we double it? What's the reason for doubling it? There's a pretty big reason. Because if it's doubled, okay, so you got A, B, C, D. If it's doubled, it would be A, B, C, D, A, B, C, D, and D, E, A, B is inside A, B, C, D, A, B, C, D, because you have that middle point. So it will be inside of it. So those middle cases, you're still catching, right? Any rotation is supported. It just works. And so say it's A, B, C, you want to check, you've got A, B, C, D and B, C, D, A. Well, that's going to be inside A, B, C, D, A, B, C, D. It's fine for your head to be hurting. That's why we email these slides to you. But yeah, make sure you have checked in if you want the slides. Yeah, it's super simple. It's literally a single liner. And now I've showed you the solution. Blair, how's it going on your end?
Well, that's easy. That makes sense.
Yeah. Now, I'm going to say the reason we use this question as this example is because we know fine well people are going to have that response. It looks like obviously I showed it in Python. There will be very similar tricks in most languages. Not every language, to be clear. And the reason, Blair, I kind of got you on stream to do this is I wanted to show that the questions at first glance, you know, the way they're worded, you know, sometimes can really throw you off. They're like, I need you to check this and this and this and this and this. You know, sometimes it's worth thinking is, do I have a language-specific way of easily checking it? And we've got someone saying, hey, it would actually work in Java too. Just alter the string to be the string twice over and use that in a solution. So yeah, all you gotta do is basically, literally, without using that, if it wasn't a one-liner, check for length, super easy. Duplicate the string, so it's like string as string, effectively append a string to itself. And then just check, is this, like, it is the second one in the first one. If it is bazinga, you did it. Right? The special thing that's only in Python, it's not necessarily only in Python. The nice thing about Python is that it will, like, it gives you these, like, it's like, Python's got these tools. It's not a thing that's only in Python. But Python has this available to you, so you should use it. If Java has something cool available to you, you should do that, right? So simple. But at the end of the day, you know, in an interview, you're gonna be like, yeah, first you would say you can do it in all languages. Exactly. You know? So, at the end of the day, what Glue Pretzel did wasn't wrong. And that's why I got him to come on stream and show me. But always think outside the box. This is why we plan first. This is why pen and paper is useful, right? Did I write the questions for the quiz? I didn't write the quiz itself, no. And that's kind of like bazinga. Blair, does that make sense to you? How's it going? I just see your concentration trying to get this working.
Let me just try. Hang on. A, B, C, D.
Yeah, it's string contains string. Yeah, absolutely.
C, D, A, D.
Yeah, there you go. Simple as that. There you go. As soon as you hear it, it's like super obvious. But yeah, well done. You've done super well there, Blair. Thank you so much for coming on stream. And I did put you under a bit of pressure there. You did great. So well done.
I think you can do this in 2 lines. So.
You probably can.
Yeah.
But now you know. I'll see you in a bit, Blair. Thank you so much for joining me.
Thank you, guys.
Okay, that was amazing. If you plan it wrong with the interview and stuff and help, it depends how much the interviewer likes you. No, I'm kidding. It depends. I suspect an interviewer is not going to go and tell you that little trick I showed you. I don't know for sure, but if I was an interviewer, I wouldn't. They want you to see you think outside the box. I bet there's other tricks as well. This isn't like the only one. I just wanted to show you like one there. So let's keep going through these slides real quick. Let me throw some slides back on your screen so you can see them. So we've done this. Why is Solution 2 better? You know, simpler, doesn't require recursion. Solution 1's very human error prone, this isn't, and this just uses the built-in tools. So we've got one more challenge. We've got 20 minutes left. We're definitely going to run over time. I'll have to check if someone's coming up next. I don't think they are. Here is your final challenge. Again, you don't have 35 minutes. You've got 20. In fact, you've probably got more like 15 if I'm honest. So I want you to write a function that takes an array with distinct elements and sorts them in a zigzag fashion. And by zigzag, I mean A is less than B, but B is greater than C. C is less than D, but D is greater than E. Okay? That's what we're thinking, okay? There's an example here. Note the comments say the output can be in a different order. They don't have to be in the same order. So it's like, you know, all you're getting is these numbers which you're passing in as an input. In this case, in JavaScript, it's being passed in as an array. In Python, it would be a list, I guess. And you want to go and sort them in a specific zigzag way. So, I'm going to take a screenshot of this. I'm going to pop it on Discord. I'm going to give you a couple of minutes to get started. While you do get started, throw your LinkedIn in chat if you want us to go and have a look at it. And we'll go and do that while we're having a couple of you have a go at this. Oh, I love this. I love your attempts. I absolutely love these. And so, where have I put the controls for the stream? I've lost the controls for the stream, friends. There we go. So, let me know in chat if you want to have a go on LinkedIn. I did say I would tell you some stories though, right? Fuzzy Wuzzy, really interesting question is like, hey. Sort of commenting the online solution, hell yeah, right? You know, like, just throw a comment and just say, hey, this is how this works, this is what I'm checking. You know, like, by doubling it, I can check if it's inside or something. Just to make sure it's understandable, right? I'm not going to try and go too far over time. Before I go and like look at people's LinkedIns, I'm just going to really quickly pull up our internal schedule because I don't want what happened yesterday happening again and I was accidentally run over into a different session. It's not very fun. And then Ryan goes like, Jack. I am Ryan Swift. If you do that again, I will go and set Blahage on you. Because of course, we'll have Blahage here. Let's go and have a look. Coming up next is Thursday today. Our next thing is at like midnight ET, and it's Cup Stack. So we actually do have time. We've got like a little bit of overflow. So I'm going to try not to run over too much. But you're all having a go at that question. That question, again, I'm going to throw it on stream just for one more time in case you're not on Discord. If you are on Discord, you want to go and head to the LHD interview channel to see the question. But here you go. Here is the wonderful question which you need to try and answer. I'm not planning on running till 5 a.m, don't worry. And while that question's on, let me go and pull up some of these LinkedIns that people have gone and asked me to look at. Again, I'm going to put the disclaimer. I am not an interviewer. I don't necessarily know what is good, but I'm going to give you my opinion. And that's kind of, you know, all I can offer you. Let's go grab Fuzzy Wuzzies because he's the first, or they're the first I saw. Are either of the arrays sorted? Is there any kind of constraint? Let's say you'll only get numbers between 1 and 100, and you cannot guarantee either array will be sorted. Like the array you get given as an input will not necessarily be sorted, is what I'm going to say, I think. Yeah, it's only a singular array which gets taken as the input. Yet again, I have lost the controls for the stream. There they are. There we go. You can see me again now. Hello, friends. Are you allowed to sort it? Yes, you are. You can, whatever you want to do in your function, you're totally allowed to do. I'm not going to stop you doing. So that's that question. I'm going to go and pull up this question, this person's LinkedIn profile that I got asked to look at. And yeah, you can sort it however you want. So again, can't see profile picture, can't see anything, which is kind of unideal. But I do like how you're saying, hey, I'm an intern at the US Naval Research Lab. Are you just an intern? Are you a software dev intern? Are you a research intern? Are you a cup stacking intern? Are you a chef intern? What kind of intern are you? I'm sure you're something. Like this kind of says to me you're probably a software developer, but you know, it just says intern, programming intern. Well, you know, you can put programming intern here. Obviously, your official job title might be intern, it might not be, but just kind of give mine as an example. If I head over to my LinkedIn and go Bazinga over there, oh, one of my friends got a show on Radio 1. That's really nice. Sorry. If I come down here, you know, I've got Senior Developer OpenShift. Internally, my actual title is Senior DevOps Developer, I think, in some places, and then just Senior Developer in others. OpenShift is the technology I work with, which is why I've got it there. Same here, like my title is Coach, but I say Hackathon Coach Europe and North America. Just give that little bit more context, all of that kind of stuff. You know, but there's no harm in kind of giving that little extra bit of context if you want to. So yeah, just be aware of that. You know, again, you got your internships. What are you interning in? Like obviously US Naval Research, you're a programming intern, but this one I can't tell at all what you're doing. What did you do? Sales associate, cool. What did you learn from it? What are your key takeaways, your transferable skills? You know, you got these, I don't know for sure. Are you sure? No, these are in the right order, cool. I was just wondering if you'd missed the fields here, but I don't think you have. High school, some people say include, some people say don't. I've been told in the US and Canada don't include your high school in your resume after you've got a degree. But I don't necessarily know about how that works on LinkedIn. Obviously, you're still a student, so I don't think there's any harm in having that there. Skills and endorsements, you got some, great, you've thrown some in. You get 50 of these, they're using LinkedIn search. Again, I'll show you mine. Again, mine is not perfect, but just to kind of show you my opinion on it, right? I go to my skills and hit show more. There is a metric ton because it means that it is SEO optimized. And yeah, this is pretty awesome. Adam, I'm not gonna look on stream right now. This is awesome. I do like how active you are on LinkedIn, is what I would say. I really like how, you know, you're sharing and you're commenting, you're sharing on people's feeds, you're giving that kind of awareness. I like you've got 179 connections as well. Like, you know, you have got, you know, a little bit there, which is awesome. Cassie's saying, hey, do you make sure the input is valid to sort into a zigzag array? I haven't necessarily. Like, it's up to you what you want to do. So yeah, however you want to do it is what I'm gonna say. I don't want to give you too much help. So yeah, that's FizzBuzz. I'm gonna go and pull up someone else's real quick. The first one I saw is this one. Let's bring this on stream. And this is Yaknesh's. You're in Brampton. I'm in Toronto. Hello, friend. You're a junior full stack developer and a React.js developer. I like that. You tell me what type. Oh my God, you're in Fanshawe. I used to live. Well, you went to Fanshawe. I went to Western on my year abroad, and I was pretty close to Fanshawe during it. LCIT. If it is a, I don't necessarily know what that stands for. LCIT Ontario. I don't know if is it Lambton College in Toronto? Just if they have a page and it's like, I would probably put Lambton College in Toronto here, probably, because I just, you know, I don't know what this background means, and it might link to their page, is what I'm saying. I like how you've shown, you know, you've done free code camp in your own time, you've got your, like, your thing from it. I think that's great. You're active on LinkedIn, that's great. You've got an about section, you know, it's really, really good. You're kind of explaining what you're good at. You know, I really like this. This is nice. I also like how you said, hey, you're looking for work. You're looking for a web dev role. It's great. Obviously, can't see your profile picture or it's not set. I can't connect to you, but I can. Okay, it's because you're like 3rd degree. So I think that's fine. But I do like how you're sharing like, you know, the kind of 100 days of code stuff. I think that's pretty great. Yeah, I think that's pretty good. I like it. How did I set my LinkedIn profile pic to be public? I need to be a little bit careful to not go and accidentally show personal info on this. I believe you go into settings and privacy, visibility, and then you can go and edit your public profile, I think. I'm just being a little bit careful here. It's somewhere around here. It's somewhere in settings you can do it, I think. I don't think it's on the actual profile setting itself. I think it's more under privacy settings. And also, if anyone who's interested about certifications, something about free Microsoft certifications here are happening. So yeah, you control it in privacy settings. So yeah, just have a think about that kind of stuff. Let me find real quick some other stuff that people are asking about in chat. because I don't want to miss things. Bear with, friends, there's just a lot going on at once. We're looking at people's LinkedIn while people have a go at a problem. Silent Dreamer, it's on Discord if you're looking for it. Interesting. Fuzzy, I'm seeing yours. Why can I not see it? Because you've not got it set to public. You've got it probably set to second degree connections or potentially even third degree connections. If it's not public, I won't be able to see it because I'm probably not in your network. If you want to add me, you're more than welcome to. I'll go for it in chat. Before we bring someone on stream, someone feel free to throw in chat, but someone did DM me. No data. Oh. Yeah, all good, no data, all good. Don't worry, it's all good. Can you discuss recovering, messing up from that problem? Really good point. How do you recover from messing up a problem? There's nothing wrong with messing up a problem. We all mess up problems. Everybody messes up problems. I've messed up problems. I mess problems up at work all the time. Everyone does. There's nothing to be ashamed of, right? At the end of the day, if you horrifically screw up an interview, you're not going to get a job. But what you have got is the learning experience of how to not screw that up again in the future. You know, I'm not one of these people, but there are people who literally got interviewed for jobs and on stuff like... In fact, I'm not going to name any of the platforms that do it, but because I don't want to like show preference for any of them, because like I don't think all of them are great. But there is platforms where you can do practice interviews and stuff, and you know, like, and some people go to real interviews. You know, they're not actually looking for a job; they would take the right one, and they're just kind of honing their skills. They're getting that experience, and you know, like it's just practice. And sometimes, you know, you will bomb an interview. That's fine. Like, don't get me wrong, it sucks. It's normal. It's fine. You shouldn't be ashamed of it. Don't worry, it happens to every single one of you. You've messed up in interviews. It's like messing up in front of a lot of people. Yeah, sorry for doing opinions on stream. I didn't realize there's stuff in there. What I would say, you know, hey, you know, you've messed up in front of a lot of people. You've all messed up in front of a lot of people. Like, I've been there. I get it. Like, I should think of stories where I've messed up in front of lots of people. I interviewed for American Express. It was like a technical coding challenge. I actually didn't get to the interview itself. I bombed it. Like, absolutely bombed it. And it was like, it was a very simple question that I realized after I was supposed to have completed it, but it was like, I'd overly complicated and I'd screwed up, and it was terrible what I'd done. It was absolutely horrific, my solution. Didn't get it. I threw in comments what I would need to do, but in my head I couldn't work it out. Because, you know, it was in a language which I wasn't sure about. And it doesn't matter. It sucks. Obviously, I didn't get hired by Amex. I got hired by, to be honest, one of their competitors. It doesn't matter. Because, you know, it doesn't stop me interviewing there again. It doesn't stop any of that. Sometimes you just mess up. Sometimes everything goes wrong. It's fine. No one, like, everyone understands. Everyone's human. The person interviewing you is human. They're gonna remember that. And so just bear that in mind. Like, don't worry too much about it. If you do massively bomb though, like, you know, just be like, hey, like if you're in an interview, like, I have literally no idea. I want to try and explain. But when you bomb, it's like, okay, look, what I would do is be like, hey, you know, I've done terribly here. I'm really curious in a solution. Do you like have it? Could you show me a little bit of it? Just kind of to give me insight. Not necessarily because it'll mean to change their mind, just because, you know, you want to know the answer. It's going to frustrate you if you don't. And so it kind of just builds that relationship. You can talk about things. You can kind of get that impression. It's awesome. Everyone learns from mistakes. This stream is a place where it's fine to make mistakes. You know, it's super easy to make mistakes. We've all been there. I screwed up on stream at the start of, like, you know, I couldn't get Python installed working, right? I should be able to. I literally do Python dev daily. I couldn't. It happens. Interviews, just like streams, are high pressure situations. You will screw up, and that's fine. And the thing people do realize, like, people do remember is, like, you will screw up, and that is fine. And they expect you to screw up. And, like, many people will screw up. And that's fine. So yeah, don't worry. Don't let it panic you. You know, you got a similar situation where I misanswered a database question in an interview. Got sent a thank you email. Yeah, you addressed a mistake because you knew what you needed to address. And so yeah, don't worry too much about it. You know, I know it's difficult and it's easy for me to say that right now, but don't. Just because of time constraints, I'm not going to bring anyone else on stream. I'm just going to kind of show you the answers. Obviously, you might want to mute if you don't want to know the answers, but there is a lot of people here before we run over time. I'm not going to drop off right as we hit time, just to be clear. But there's going to be people who need to go to bed. So I'm going to kind of just really quickly walk you through the answer. And then while you're doing that, while I'm doing that, if there's any general questions people have about anything while I walk through this answer, whether it's about, having a job, being here at MLH, how to technically interview, why Blahaj is great. Like, whatever you want to ask about, I'm happy to try and answer, the best I possibly can. So, why am I rapping? Because I am a rapper. And also, spoilers actually, I did go to drama school, so I probably could rap. Doesn't mean I'm going to. I went to stage school for 12 years, hilariously. So here we go. Any questions that you have been asked about this problem, I just read a speaker note saying, hey, don't read this script. Well done, me. So time's up. Does anyone want to share their solutions? Feel free to replets in chat. But what we're going to do is we're going to do like this. So we're going to split it into 2 separate functions. And we've got our zigzag function, which is the one that's run. And it sorts it using, just Python, just to get the sorted array instead of us sorting it manually. We're going to use Python's built-in one. I'm going to show you in a second. Hang on, I know it's not on the screen. Hang on. So here you go. Here you go. So we're going to go and split it into 2 different ones. We're going to sort it into, store the sorted value. Left is equal to 1. And basically, I guess this is kind of similar to a binary search tree. It's not quite. It's kind of a similar concept, I think, in terms of, saying while left is greater than the length of the sorted thing minus 1, because obviously the length, like indexes start as 0, but the length will be the entire thing, I think, is why that's there. You want to swap it. So this swap from there, it takes it and it literally just swaps them around. So you want to swap left, right, and then left plus 1. And then you just recalculate left, and then you just print it when it's sorted. Right? It's just some kind of sorting algorithm. Like, I'll be honest, I'm really bad at explaining this one, so I'm going to show you on stream these kind of things. So the swap function is a helper element that we can use to swap array elements, which is awesome. Line 5 is where we actually sort the array. So we could use any sorting algorithm, but we assume n log n complexity. So then we use a while loop, and while we can iterate through the sorted array, start at index 0, we swap high to lower and then skip by 2, which means we have a zigzag. That's why we do +2, because it means we're going boom, it's zigzagged. Pro tip, this is not the finished solution. This is a very simple approach, but what is the complexity? It's a ton of complexity. It's n log n, which is math for a lot. Complexity, by the way, I'm saying is like how difficult would it be to run this calculations. It's slow, exactly. So here's another solution I can show you. It's similar, but it's not quite the same. Yeah, Adam's saying big O rotation. That is a thing that's used in interviews. I'm terrible at it, but that's a thing. Which is why I'm going off the slides on this one, because I can't. I'm honestly not great at technical interviews, which is why I'm going off the slides on this to kind of explain it a bit better. So in line 2, we have flag true. Relationship less than as expected. Else is expected. And then the first expected relationship is less than, right? The for loop then iterates through the array, as we can probably tell. But what does it do? This is Python. You can have answered it in whatever you wanted. Built-in sorting is very, very costly. Yeah, exactly. It's not necessarily the right way to go. So, you can use it at the start when you're trying to hash it out. This is a really good point, It's fine to rely on it, but you might not always want to. So the for loop checks the flag and sees what relation is needed. So it says, if the flag is true, else if it's false. Line 5 then checks to see if a number at position I plus 1 is not the intended flag. If it is true, then it swaps the numbers. And it basically is checking for intention. Line 8 then does the same thing as line 5, but for the opposite relation. So it basically flips it the other way. Line 10 then flips relationship. As a relation, sorry, I always say relationship, I mean relation. So we can zigzag. So solution 2, which again, I'm going through this fast to be clear. I don't expect you to understand that at first glance. I'm going fast because we're about to hit time and I want to get this all out to people. Oh, can you still hear me, friends? I did potentially just lose audio. Let me know. We had an audio glitch just then. But yeah, I'm going through this really, really quick. You can hear me, cool. In my ear, it just glitched for a second. So I'm going through this quick. I don't expect you to understand this right now. The important thing I really want you all to do is take a look when I post this in Discord and see if you understand why this second one is better than the first one, okay? So solution 2 is better because it does not require O, N log N sorting. It iterates through the array only once. Saves a ton of complexity. It has the complexity actually of O, N, which is pretty great. And, you know, it uses less memory, which is brilliant. Which, you know, for some languages, I'm not gonna say it's not a huge deal, but you don't have to actively manage memory, but some you do. So, you know, it's worth bearing in mind. And that is important, you know? Your questions, you know, in an interview, you want to get an answer down, and then you want to be like, how can I optimize this, in my opinion? Okay, we're not going to do this on stream. This is your homework. I'm going to post the solution in Discord, but feel free to take a screenshot right now. I want you to write a function that takes an array of elements. It returns yes if there is a triplet of a squared plus b squared equals c squared. If there isn't, print no. So, you know, it's not just free values though. So in this example, and to be clear, this is not correct, I don't think. If 3 squared add 1 squared equals 4 squared, oh, it is. I think, not sure. I'm bad at math. 3 squared add 1 squared equals 4 squared, return true. But also if 1 squared add 4 squared equals 6 squared, or, you know, anything like that, or 4 squared add 6 squared equals 5 squared. You know, if they do, that is kind of when you want to print yes. You know, if none of them at all return true, no. No, Jack, no. Look, I'll be honest, it's 11 p.m. My brain is shutting down. The math you hear from this point onwards is going to be bad. That's why I'm not telling you the maths, and that's why we're not going to do this one on stream, because we are out of time. But if you want to have a go at it, you should. And I'm going to put the answer in Discord. So there you go. Okay, I'm going to skip through this solution. Don't look. We're going to have a quick review. So it's good to ask questions in interviews. You always should. Plan your code in advance. And remember, the explanation is just as important as the solution. I'll put these slides in Discord. Do not worry. I'm not going to forget. I just want to get through it so anyone who does need to leave can. If you've enjoyed this, head over to mlhlocal.com/host to have a go at our quiz. And you can go fill it in. I'm not going to do that on stream again because we're going to hit time. And I want to make sure anyone who does need to leave now can. But we're going to take a look at some next steps. And this is why I wanted to get through this real quick. Because this, if you're about to go, stick around for 1 more minute. In your email, you're going to get some instructions on how to contribute your solution, I think. You might not get that anymore. It might be an odd thing. But check out Interview Cake at mlhlocal.host/interview-cake for more practice problems like this. They have a free plan you can sign up for, which is really, really good. You'll get like a question every week you can try and solve. But also, you can go to your GitHub Student Developer Pack, and you can actually activate a free month, I think it's 3 week free subscription. So if this is interested to you and you want to have an actual go at getting better at interviews, definitely claim the GitHub Student Developer Pack and go and have a look at Interview Cake. It's going to teach you way better than I just did. It's going to go into more depth, and it's going to be really useful. If you don't already have the GitHub Student Developer Pack, let me show you on stream how awesome that is. But before I do that, you can also check out the link on your screen now. Remember, these slides are going in Discord. mlhlocal.host/big O notation will go and tell you all about big O notation. Again, don't worry, you know, there's some additional practice problems at the end of this. I'm going to send these to you, but I want to go and show this before we do it. If you go to education.github.com, I'm going to go and paste this in chat for you right now. And then you can click the GitHub Student Developer Pack button, and then click Get Your Pack. If you're not a student or GitHub doesn't know you're a student, you're going to have to verify first. But all of these tools are totally free for you if you are a student. Entirely free. There's stuff like free domains. There is stuff like Azure credit. There's stuff like free GitHub Pro or tutorials or DigitalOcean credit. There's also 3 weeks of full access for totally free to Interview Cake. There's so much stuff in here, you know, $50 of Twilio credit, a 1-month online web development bootcamp, which you can go and do. The one I've heard good things about, actually, that's on here is Flatiron School. You can get a 3-month access. I think it's like $200, $300 normally. So it's like definitely worth checking it out. I've heard very good things about this. You know, you got all sorts of really useful tools here. So take a look and go and claim this. This is an incredible kind of thing to have as a student, and it's seriously, you're gonna learn more on this than many of your classes, if I'm entirely honest. So go and claim it. I'd really recommend it. It's awesome. You can also get Dashlane for free, so bazinga. But yeah, it's a great subscription. Data Camp, you know, all sorts. They've also got Campus Experts, which are like coaches for GitHub. But with that, we did have some questions that people wanted answering, so I'm gonna, that's the end of a formal session. As soon as the stream goes offline, I'll go and put in these slides into Discord, so hang tight for me to do that. This hair is going the wrong way and it's really annoying me. But people had kind of questions. If anyone else is getting locked out of Discord, what you need to do is you need to go to the kind of, there's an icon, a channel with a traffic light icon. You need to go to there. You need to go and kind of accept the thing in there. You scroll down to LHD check-in, I think it's called. And you need to go and click the icon in there, and then that will unlock everything for you. It's a little bit complicated. It's just to kind of make sure people have read the rules and stuff. Okay, so let me go. Guess which genius hit refresh? Every single stream, I hit refresh. So if you had any questions, every single one. It's so easy to do by accident on a Mac. Some people have questions because I've refreshed, I can't see chat anymore. So if you had any questions for me about any of this, MLH, you know, jobs, going from a student to being not a student, which is terrifying, you know, moving countries to work, how to not screw up in an interview, anything, I'm happy to answer anything I can. How do we improve your think process to crack a solution? Practice, to be honest. That's all I can say. The more you do it, the better you're gonna get at it. You'll see patterns in the problems, and you'll be like, okay, I've seen this pattern before. It's dressed up in fancier language, but this is what it is. So stuff like LeetCode as well, people recommend HackerRank. I personally am not a huge fan of them. I have strong opinions, but I think they are useful tools if you're interested in getting better at interviews like this. I will also say I am not the most technical person in the world. Ultimately, I'm not planning on staying a software dev forever. I'm planning to go more into the tech ed side, as you can probably tell. And so, you know, I'm not the most skilled software dev ever, and I can get through these interviews. So yeah. You like my Sharkin background? I do too. It's Blahaj. How long did it take for my accent to change? Is my accent really that Canadian right now? It varies. It really does vary. It's really weird. Project Hula is number one. The solution is going to be on Discord in the LHD interview channel, so yeah. Do you think it's a good interview practice to work on personal projects? I think, one, yes. Not necessarily for the super quick technical interviews, but some are project-based. The more projects you work on, the better you're going to be at building a project. Also, though, you know, it's going to give you more experience when you actually get the job. Not everything's going to feel it's super stressful to go into a job, not know any of the tech, and you'll be like, oh my god, I don't know any of this. And so personal projects both give you something to put on your resume or CV. They give you something to put in your portfolio. They give you something to show interviewers in non-technical interviews and be like, okay, tell me about a time you developed something and you ran into a problem. It's like, I built this project. This is what I did. This is how it was difficult. This is how I overcame it. You know, that kind of thing, right? Any tips on going to college for an actual dev job? Low-key scared. I was terrified. I get it. The story of my job, I think I said I'd say it, so I'm going to tell you the stream-friendly version. I was at a hackathon. I'd gone on a year abroad to Canada as part of my degree. I was at a hackathon of all places. You know, I was still a hacker. I didn't work for MLH or anything. And I, you know, was at a hackathon and I met some people at RBC. Ultimately, kind of, you know, I met with them. I joked around with them. I wasn't, I always say, don't be the person in the suit. Again, I don't know if that's necessarily great advice, but it's what I feel is, if someone wants me to wear a suit when I'm meeting them for the first time, I probably won't like working there. It's my opinion. My opinion might be wrong, but that's just what I feel. And so, you know, I met them, we joked around, you know, we shared chicken nuggets. I turned one of them into a Pokemon, include them in a project. It was funny. Ultimately, you know, they take my details, you know, I get an email. They invite me to go interview with a UK office where I could legally work at the time, for an internship. So I take it. Do the internship. Part of the internship is a 5-day trip back to Toronto. Do the 5-day trip back to Toronto. And during a 5-day trip, you know, I was like, I really want to get hired in Canada. I love Canada. I want to come back. I live in Canada again now. And basically what happened was, I saw the people I'd met previously at hackathons. I, let's say, didn't go through the full interview process because I'd effectively done it. My 12 weeks of internship was effectively that. Got offered a job, and here I am. And so, you know, that's what I would say is like, you know, just don't get me wrong, interviews are important, but connections are just as important. You know, meet people, go out to hackathons when you're in person again, you know, build these relationships as much as you can to kind of like doing that. In terms of going to college for an actual dev job, low-key scared, I get it. I seriously get it. My biggest piece of advice is just kind of don't be, which I know is terrible advice, but like, it's scary. You will be scared, probably. That's fine. Just roll with the punches and just like, be like, this is normal. It's normal to be scared. Just, you know, get the vibe of your team, work out who you can go and talk to at work when you need help with things. Work out, you know, who's going to know the answer to this. A new job, especially for a new grad, is not going to expect you to know every single thing ever, right? And so, you know, just be aware of that. You know, they've hired you. They want to keep you around, and they hired you for a reason. And to be honest, they probably, when they hired you, didn't think you knew everything. Mine definitely didn't. Like, I'm working on OpenShift. I'd never barely looked at Kubernetes before I started, but I was willing to learn, and that was the most important thing, okay? Do all the things to get education pack start. Simultaneously know they only start when you activate them. If you're having problems with your code, I'm going to share the actual solutions in Discord straight after the stream, so bear with. How do I apply for a job in a different country? I just kind of told you that one. Make connections. I also did get a visa pre-approved. It's probably difficult if you're not. I can't really talk about that because it's illegal in Canada to give immigration advice without being a licensed official. Look at your options that are available is what I'd say. If you're a young person in certain countries, you can do work and holiday visas with restrictions. That kind of stuff is what the route I took to be able to come here. But like, to be honest, it's if you want to go to a different country, it's get invested, learn how it works, read up on it, because it won't work the way you think it does. Do we care that you run into difficulties in developing a project? Do we care if the difficulties you run into when developing a project is front end or back end? I'm not quite sure what it's referring to, but you know, probably not, unless they're framing it in a specific way. It depends on the question that's being asked. How can you get job referrals on LinkedIn? Step 1, do not spam people. Step 2, meet people. Like, job referrals on LinkedIn, great. You know, if you can build a relationship with someone on LinkedIn, great. The saying, and again, many people are going to disagree with me on this, and that's fine. The real people you go to get a job and to build your network and to do cool things are not the people you have on LinkedIn, but the people you have on Facebook. And is that necessarily correct in every single kind of situation? No, to be honest. You know, in some situations, definitely not true. But there's people on my Facebook I ran put it this way, this is not like a job or an internship. I ran Hack Quarantine. It was MLH's first ever digital event, right? We organized the entire event in 10 days. We had 3,500 hackers. I had never lead organized a hackathon before in my entire life. Okay, so it's not a job, but it was a 3-week-long hackathon. I basically worked like 18-hour days for like a month, so it felt like one, right? And to give you a bit of insight there, the kind of seed that started Hack Quarantine was me posting in our Facebook chat for all the hackathon organizers in the UK saying, hey, wouldn't it be cool if you're in a hackathon? That, because everything's on digital, let's be the first digital one. Let's just run something, because people are probably upset right now. Let's just do it. And people are like, oh, that sounds interesting. I'm like, cool, let's make a Slack. We make a Slack. By the end of the first day, we had a website up and we'd launched. Okay? Right? You know, at the end of the day, you know, did I ever expect it to get 3,500 people? Hell no. But it did, you know, because we pulled in different people. Like, we effectively had, you know, I'd used the people I knew to bring this together. You know, we were friends. We wanted to do something as friends to do it. And then you were like, hey, I know, like, one of them was like, hey, I know this person in, like, North America. They'd be a really good person to talk to about this and, like, about press stuff. We should bring them in. And so we brought them in. And so now, if I go to hackquarantine.com, you know, bear in mind, we built this all up in 10 days, you know. We were partnered with GitHub. We were on the Twitch homepage for opening and closing, for closing ceremony, went out on Twitch homepage because we knew someone. You know, we had Twilio and Capital One and all of that kind of stuff supporting it. You know, we partnered with a ton of organizations, right? I will tell you now, 95% of these partnerships and sponsorships are from people that a member of our team knew on Facebook, not someone they knew on LinkedIn. So, you can't see it. Hang on, you can't see it. Let me go and show you this real quick. So yeah, let me show you the Hack Quarantine website real quick, right? Ooh. Oh, I've not screen shared. That's why, because I refreshed. So yeah, this is our website. This was all made in 10 days. We partnered with these people in 10 days. We put the effort in 10 days, you know? And ultimately we could do that because we knew the people here. We're all Facebook friends. And so the moral of the story I'm trying to get across here is job referrals on LinkedIn are great, but realistically, a referral from someone who doesn't know you is probably worth nothing because they're not going to be able to write cool things about you. It's probably worth a little bit, but you know, get to know them before you ask for a referral, and don't just go out there and be like, hey, give me a job. You know, you work at this company, I want a job at this company, can I have one, please? Not cool. You're going to get ignored, probably, to be honest. You know, find someone who has a relationship with you. Like, you know, one of my friends is like, hey, I'm really interested in working at company X. You know someone who works there. Like, can you put me in touch so I can talk to them and ask them some questions? You know, that kind of thing. Totally fine. Just don't go and ask random people for referrals. Do you experience for internships? It depends on the internship. It's pretty simple. You know, it entirely depends, right? How do you know if computer science and programming is the right job? Talk to people who do it. If they're saying things and it sounds really boring, do you really want to do it? Like, don't get me wrong, it pays okay, but like, do you really want to do it? That's the big question. Before I go drop off air, let me know if there's anything you want me to know. Yeah, exactly. Like, this happened 2 days ago. I commented on a HR post that he found kind of immature, and he asked my details. You know, called me directly and mentored me. Right? You know, just talk to people. Don't go in asking for like the referral. Don't go asking for like, you know, them to give you something. Just go and learn from people and like do cool things. Right? Like, I do. Like, I'm much more interested, like, as me personally, in doing cool things rather than like all of that kind of stuff. Adam, I am looking forward to you dismantling your cup stack at Tower. So any other questions before we drop off air? You know, we have got technically 45 minutes. I have no intention of staying on air for 45 minutes. We're already around 50 minutes over. Let me know in chat if there is any final questions about anything we've talked about today, anything at all, and then if not, I'll drop off. I'll throw the slides that I've been using into Discord. But thank you so much for coming to this session. I hope you're having a great local hack day. It's been genuinely great chatting to you all over the last couple of days. This is officially my last session for the whole of Local Hack Day this year, so you might not see me again for the rest of it. I'll be chilling in chat and all of that kind of stuff. There is a possibility you might see me again, but I can't promise anything, is all I'm going to say. But this is very potentially the last one. Thank you so much for joining us. If you want to see me again, I'm going to be at hackathons, you know, across generally North America. I'm at UOTA Hack and CU Hacking and Coos Hacks and Hack for North and a couple of others coming up. So, you know, I'll potentially see you then. It's been great meeting all of you, and I seriously hope you're all having a great kind of time. So I'll leave you with an MLH promo. I'll go and throw stuff in chat, and I hope you all have a great rest of your evening or day and all of that. See you, friends.
Hackathon is a weekend-long invention competition. Students show up on a Friday or Saturday, dream up a crazy idea like a website, a mobile app, or a robot, and then bring it to life over the course of a weekend and share it with their peers.
Germany and Spain here that I was talking to earlier. Like, people coming all over the world to come to these things.
We support tens of thousands of students at hundreds of universities to help them learn, build, and share brand new technology creations with the world.
It's like you always have these ideas and you know there's so much you can do, but until you come to hackathon you don't realize you can actually do it.
For me, the most inspiring part is, you know, like the fact that sponsors are sending like the engineers to come here and talk to us, and we can learn so much from them.
We always look out for the new talent, new entrepreneurs to build new businesses so that we can really help them in that.
Hackers who attend MLH events are not the type of hackers that you hear about on the news. They're not breaking into banks or stealing your credit card. These are people who love the process of creating technology.
The energy and the passion that they have, I think we all need to pitch in and give them a wonderful experience.
Like, just the amount of people that I've met through hackathons, the amount of like super cool friends I've met that are also passionate about building stuff, about just like making things and being creative.
This is my first one, jumping in deep into the pool, so yeah, I'm excited.
You come in and like oftentimes you don't know what you're doing, right? And it's just the ability to learn on the spot, to meet people who can teach you, to figure out a way of solving a problem.
Don't feel pressured to have to create something. Just go for it, because the experience in itself is definitely worth it.